Line up, you fucking nerds. Who wants a shot at the champ?
They bring the heat.
Francis Ngannou is the hardest puncher in the history of fighting.
They bring the knowledge.
If you think this fight is going 5 rounds, you are out of your mind.
They bring you the picks.
The dog is getting it done in this one.
We deliver every single week. We're bringing the heat, ladies and gentlemen.
The money line.
Don't miss it on the MMA Experts channel each week. The money line. We are live. We're talking UFC 291, and I got the bright white light on Mike Finch over here. What's up, dude?
I know. I got like spotlights on me today. Look at how bright I am. The white shirt really helps. What up, AJ? Dude, I'm excited for Gaethje and Poirier to throw down again. Are these not the type of fights we look forward to? This is going to be sick.
No, this is definitely the type of fight that I get excited about. I like the BMF title on the line. I think it's a fun addition. And you know what? It also gets these guys a little more revenue for their next fights because the winners now, you know, regardless of it not being an undisputed belt, I'm pretty certain the BMF causes for pay-per-view points. And big fights are on the horizon, bro. I actually am speculating what's next for the winner in a video that I dropped earlier today, which was like a bit of a individual fight prediction for this matchup here. And bro, whenever I do those individual like main event breakdowns, normally I don't be posting them, but I'm getting back on it. I'm telling you, it gets me even more hyped for the main event. Like I'm hyped as hell for this matchup now, bro. We're going to talk about it in a bit. We got a full card to cover, and I don't know. I want to recap last week if you're into it, Finch.
Yeah, let's go. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's dig into last week just a little bit. All right. So what do we want to start with? I think we go main event. We keep it classy. And Finch, I definitely want to get your take on this main event. Is Tom Aspinall that dude? Because he ran through Tybura like it was nothing.
Man, he's so mobile. Like you saw how he was on the balls of his feet. He was really making it a point to be very, very mobile, side to side, back and forth. He even had some nice level changes there and quick too. He found that straight cross really nicely, got Tybura blocking stuff around the outside, thinking about kicks, didn't know where the strikes were coming. And then boom, he puts one right down the pipe, puts Tybura away early. Remember, I was saying the grappling contest between the two, I thought would be competitive. We'll never know because Aspinall is that much better on the feet than Marcin Tybura. So super, super impressive performance by him. I was happy to see it because I cashed the parlay. That's another parlay in the books for us, folks. And geez, it made it, Aspinall and Muradov, those two guys dominated. So that was an easy one. And Aspinall looks like he's a top 3 heavyweight in the world. I like the John Jones call out, I must say.
Listen, bro, let's be honest, though. There's a guy's name who's in the mix that was not mentioned by Tom Aspinall, and that's the boogeyman, Sergey Pavlovich, who just knocked out Curtis Blades. Though there was an injury with Aspinall and Blades, on paper, Blades has a win over him. And obviously, I think that the Blades fight is something Aspinall maybe eventually would like to get back, depending upon if Blades can get through some tough opposition. But Pavlovich is that dude right above Aspinall now. And when I think of the heavyweight division, I'm like, okay, we have John Jones fighting against Stipe Miocic, UFC 295. I think it's like November 12th. And I'm looking at that fight and I'm like, do these guys decide to do one more after it? And then who is the next contender? So I find myself in a little bit of a bind mentally, because I'm like, does Tom Aspinall really deserve to jump Sergey Pavlovich in line and fight a John Jones after that? So then he said, no, he wants to fight the Gane and Spivak winner. I'm just thinking about timelines. How long does John Jones plan to stick around if victorious over a Stipe Miocic? We're taking a lot of leaps forward, and I'm looking way ahead, saying he's already getting past Stipe. But I'm just thinking about that, man. Like, I just think Aspinall Pavlovich would be the real number 1 contender fight, and the winner fights the winner of Stipe versus John Jones. I feel like fans would be all over that, man. And you know what? Aspinall could get hurt against Pavlovich. That's the scariest matchup outside of the champion for him.
Are you saying are you saying he's ducking Pavlovich? Okay. Is that why he didn't announce the name?
See, this is something that I've been sitting on, okay? Let's look at it like this. He claimed in an interview with Ariel Helwani earlier that he was told by Michael Bisping to call out the guy that just fought for the belt. So Cyril Gane just fought and lost for the belt. So I can kind of understand the ideology I feel like it would be maybe a tactic of, hey, I beat him more impressively than John Jones. But Sergey Pavlovich is realistically next. It's got to be the Pavlovich fight. Gane wouldn't deserve a title shot over a Pavlovich, and now he gets the number one contender fight. I don't know, man. I don't know.
I think West Coast has got it right. He said John Jones is
bring him up.
going to retire, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's it. That's what I was thinking when he was saying that, was like, is John Jones going to take on this beast, this young contender? You know, I mean, hey, he's got some knee injuries. Maybe John stomps his shit backwards. I don't know. Maybe that is a good a tactic against a Tommy Aspinall, bouncing all over the place. Just stomp that knee backwards a couple times. I'm thinking that it's possible, but unlikely. You know, I don't quite see the Aspinall John Jones fight happening. I would like to see it, but you're right that Pavlovich and Aspinall are much more on crossroads. Even Cyril Gane has a longer window here. John Jones has said himself he wants to do what, 1 or 2 more fights. So, all right. It sounded to me, AJ, you tell me if I'm wrong. It sounded to me like you think Pavlovich deserves this shot at the title and Aspinall needs to shut the fuck up.
I think that if you're willing to fight, I'm down for a number one contender fight, Pavlovich Aspinall, and I'm down for it soon, because at the end of the day, both guys coming off knockout wins, not taking significant damage. I feel like if we could maybe set it up in November, you could do it the week before the John Jones fight as a main event on a fight night card. You could put it on a pay-per-view and set it up and maybe, you know, get some fan interest in it. John Jones could be pressured into taking that fight, maybe, right? I think, though, it depends upon how he beats Stipe. Because let's be real, if he goes out there and has a bit of trouble with Stipe, but does pull through with the win, I think then he says, fuck, I'm not going to take on this big monster who looks like the next big thing. Because why do I need to let Tom Aspinall or Sergey Pavlovich, because both are dangerous fights for Jones, why let him build a name off of you? You know, that's my thought process. Why? To, you know, go through your whole career to now fight some young kid on the come up when you're kind of past your prime and let him beat on you for what? I mean,
what was John Jones' whole second half of his UFC light heavyweight title reign? I mean, when he fought Anthony Smith, what did he have to gain? When he fought Thiago Santos, what did he have to gain? I mean, you could always make that argument, right?
Yeah, that is true, because he didn't have much to gain beating those guys besides title defenses. So is the money going to be worth it? Is the cash going to be worth it? If the UFC says to John Jones they'll give him the biggest heavyweight pay ever, I think they could get him to do one more. And I think you have to pick between the best two. And for me, it's Aspinall, Pavlovich. They fight for the John Jones fight, assuming John Jones beats Stipe. We're really jumping past Stipe because it's not like he isn't dangerous too. Could you imagine a world where he riles shit up and then we got a trilogy potentially? Yeah.
Yes. Stipe is one of the best fighters in the world. Absolutely. You got to include him in the conversation. Who knows if Stipe could drag Pavlovich on the ground and beat his ass? I don't know. You know, he's right up there too. So actually we could have an exciting 2024 in the heavyweight division. Look at these names. Johnny Bones Jones, stick around. Stipe, Pavlovich, Aspinall. I mean, even Cyril Gane being in the mix. I like it.
I like it a lot, man. I think that the heavyweight division, I'm going to say, is popping off again. Like, I remember when the heavyweight division had, JDS at the top, a Shane Carwin in the mix, a primed Frank Mir. And then when Brock Lesnar was there, I thought that was pretty heat for the heavyweight division with those savages at the higher end. But now, the way it's coming along, I think with Pavlovich and Aspinall really in the lead, but following right behind is a polar opposite style is Jailton Almeida, who's fighting Curtis Blades. He's right in the mix too. Could you imagine a world where Jailton Almeida's in a title fight? That's interesting too. There's some scary names on the come up, man. I think heavyweight right now is some freaks.
Have we not been waiting for the heavyweight division to look like this? I mean, how long has it been? Brock Lesnar days.
Brock Lesnar days. Yeah, Brock Lesnar days. Because even with Francis, I always loved watching Francis. He was the boogeyman. Like the matchup with Stipe was awesome to see, but he didn't have a long reign at the top as far as being champ. Like, how many title defenses did we claim for Francis? One title defense, right? He knocked out Stipe and he beat Cyril Gane.
Yes, exactly. And what was Brock's record? 5-3? What was his record?
Yeah, he finished out, I think 5-3, one no contest.
I mean, but was it not amazing?
It was
Every
amazing.
single fight, did you
It was
not
all amazing.
absolutely love watching
Yes.
Brock Lesnar run over Heath Herring, fucking reel him back in with the rope, the entire deal? I mean, that was like the most entertaining time. So I'm looking for a time in the heavyweight division that's going to be selling pay-per-views. I could imagine this little heavyweight tournament culminating in something like that.
That would be sick too. Yeah, it looks like it's coming, and I'm excited to see, bro. Heavyweight has me more excited right now than I've been in a long time. I'd say since Brock versus Shane Carwin type excitement, because that was like craziness. I remember I thought Shane Carwin would knock him out back then, man, and damn, he almost did.
He almost did. I remember where I was and everything. I was with my friends. We were at Buffalo Wild Wings. We're freaking out. These two titans fighting each other. I mean, these guys are like, legendary characters from some video game. It's amazing that those two were at the top of the division. Shane Carwin, all first round finishes coming in there against Brock. All I'm saying is I hope to see the pay-per-view end of the UFC heavyweight division start to happen again, because heavyweights, that's where I'd prefer to watch. I'd prefer to see some of the best fighters in the world compete at heavyweight, and it's just been a little thin, and hopefully we get back to it. I'm somebody, by the way, who is a Tim Sylvia fan. Do any of you know who Tim Sylvia is? The Maniac, because he's from Maine. I used to root for Tim Sylvia. So don't tell me that I can't appreciate some heavyweights. I can.
You can. You know, it's funny with the Brock Lesnar Shane Carwin fight. I remember I was visiting family in Cape Cod, Mass, and I was at my uncle's house. Rest in peace to the legend. He let me buy the pay-per-view, didn't question me. So that was honestly a true lesson of generosity. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, if I ever got like a young fucking nephew or something asking me, I'll buy it for him. You know what I'm saying? Because what is it? Like, the generosity goes a long way. Because I look back, that was one of those fights that, like, I feel like I still remember to this day. And imagine, he's like, nah, you can't buy the pay-per-view at my house. Who knows what my fanhood would have been? I was early in the run for me. That was when I was like, probably what was that UFC one what? Well, I don't remember, 114. Or now I'm curious, bro. You got me locked in on this right now.
Oh, dude. Man, I can remember getting the group together for UFC 100 and teaming up to buy the pay-per-view. Everybody chipped in $20. That's back when the pay-per-views didn't cost so much. UFC cheaper. 101 was that BJ Penn, Sean Shirk. See, I'm not good with the numbers, but I remember these events very well. I've been a fan longer than AJ because I'm older than AJ, okay?
That is true, bro. We're some OGs, though, at this point. Yo, it was UFC 116, July 3rd, 2010. And I remember I really started getting like, I'm watching every card after UFC 109. I was like, I'm fully hooked. But I watched the Anderson Silva versus Forrest Griffin pay-per-view. And, I fell asleep during the BJ Penn fight, I think, as a kid, bro. But I remembered Anderson Silva styling on him. So that's like what really, I was like getting hooked around the time. And then, bro, 109 hooked me forever. And it was honestly the funniest fight, bro, because it was old Mark Coleman and old Randy Couture in a pay-per-view main event. Bro, I couldn't imagine them trying to sell that type of fight today as a main event of a pay-per-view. Holy shit, man.
Crazy, right? But those were good days, my friend. That is back when, so I'm really excited for this card this weekend. That's back when any good card pretty much had a title fight. I mean, it was very rare that you had a pay-per-view card without a title fight headliner. It was always one or two title fights. So interesting, now they're selling big pay-per-views, McGregor fights, even this Poirier Gaethje fight this weekend. These are big pay-per-view cards with no title fights. I'm from the era where that shit did not go down. There was always belts on the line. I remember UFC Stacked. They did 3 titles. That's how they did it back then.
Yeah, I guess they did it with like a Legends matchup, though, in the past with the 109. They got me hooked because Randy wasn't the champ at that point. He had lost a couple and he fought Coleman. But that was like, at the time, the two OGs going after it. Almost like a BMF belt. If that was today, the BMF belt would have been on the line because it would have had to add some steam.
West Coast, one more time. I'm older than both of you. I've been watching MMA since 94, 95, brother. I was born in 92, so you do have that on me. But when I could watch, I remember the first fight I remember watching live was Randy Couture, Pedro Hizzo.
Holy shit.
Way back, bro. My pops was watching this. My pops was telling me, forget that wrestling bullshit, that Stone Cold Steve Austin stuff, that's fake. He used harsher language than that, but I'm not going to give it to you guys that way. He said, this stuff is real. Check this out. And
That's sick.
I still am checking this out.
Dude, I feel like that same conversation would be had if I had a kid and they had WWE. I'm like, listen, let me show you the real shit. You're old enough to fucking see some true violence. You know what I'm saying? Like WWE, I feel like as like a real young kid, it's like that was the shit, you know, at like 5-6 years old. And then as you grow up a little bit, you find out what MMA is. We shift to the dark side, bro. We come to the light, the truth in the cage, bro. Who's the baddest? The real.
Why is MMA the best? Because it's the most honest. It's the most true thing. What is boxing? We're just gonna fight with our hands. MMA is, you know, you could think you're a better singer than the person next to you and say Simon Cowell just really he's biased towards them. And right, if you get knocked out, that is cold, hard reality. You step into that cage and you put it all on the line. So that's why I love this sport. That's why I have so much respect for everybody in this sport. It's not acting, folks.
You know, it's not. Listen, no diss on boxing. I know Finch man likes to attack the love of boxing that I have to fuck with me a little bit. But I get what you mean, though.
I see the gloves behind you.
I know. It's good. You need to. But there's nothing realer, though, than a true cage fight because it's nearly to fucking everything. Like Valet Chudo would be the only, you know, way we take it to the fucking dark side of the knees on the head and shit. But then you start getting too crazy. I think then it's
I mean, me and AJ do some shows for bare knuckle fighting champions.
That's pretty fucking.
We'll do some raw shit, you know.
That's some raw shit. Right now, bare knuckles the rawest though for sure. Because without the gloves, bro, it's like crazy how much the game is different when you start seeing those shots. Like when we were talking about the girl who freaking got hit in the eye, and you know, it's like I'm good, I'm done. Like, yo, fuck this. Like, it's pretty crazy compared to like you would never see that in a gloved boxing match, or even really like an MMA fight. Normally, I don't fucking know. Maybe I don't know. Somebody gets jabbed up and then it's over. But yeah, bare knuckles are crazy.
Well, okay, so you just reminded me of a fight last weekend. Do you want to go co-main event next? Because we probably should. But I was about to say, it's on here. Davey Grant, I thought won that fight, brother.
You thought he won it? I had it close. I thought it was close. I said, you know what? 2-1 Grant, I wouldn't have complained. 2-1 Marcos, because the blood was a big factor in
That's the connection.
Even me watching, I'm like, okay, I think Davey Grant's backing him up, but the blood, it's coming down. It's like, I think this guy's winning because he's got him bleeding.
Not just backing him up, though, bombing on him with some shots. He was making the brain bounce around in the skull a lot more. He was dealing out damage internally. He received some damage externally. I don't know. I thought he was going to get his hand raised there. When I heard it was a split decision, I'm like, don't do it to him. But I knew they were in, they were over across the pond. I figured they'd give it to their boy. No, I was as surprised as he was, man.
No, I'll be honest. I was sitting there and I was like, okay, I think there's a real possibility Davey Grant got it on the cards, but they're saying the damage, right, of the actual, I think like the physical damage is something that, you know, sways the judges too now, since they've said damage trumps all. So I guess it comes to, if you're a guy that bleeds easier and it's a competitive fight, even if maybe you're leading them away, but there's some counters coming in, and, you know, Davey Grant maybe doesn't look like he's landing super flush, but like you said, he's going like this. The shit's still getting through the guard and there's power on it. I guess then they sway the way of what looks more brutal, which I guess the blood.
Some of those hooks with the right hand,
it was power.
Clubbing him. Boom, he was popping him with way more power. You saw Marcos was very, very mobile, but like backing up and being very hesitant, kind of staying on the outside. I thought he lost that fight, bro. But
listen, I totally get it. And I know Grant was your fucking one of the dogs you like.
Come on, that's pretty much what I thought he was gonna do. He got taken down one time. What happened? Boom, popped right back up. I thought he won that fight.
The fight, it was close. It went similarly to how I would have expected, with Davey Grant, you know, really bringing the steam. I thought that Marcos was going to be just a tad bit more active and also a tad bit faster than he was. I still think Marcos is a good prospect, though. I just feel like Davey Grant, unfortunately, he loses the decision in a fight that was very competitive, and, you know, you feel it went one way. I'll be honest, I'd have to go back and rewatch it to give you another take. I just remember the moment thinking, I feel like it can go either way. I kind of thought Davey Grant could have stole it with the third round performance, but it was close. I feel like Marcos is in a spot where like a Jonathan Martinez fight makes a lot of sense. I think that there's still some good opposition for his style of striking. Give him another striker, give him a guy, or Chris Gutierrez, who's a teammate of Martinez. So they're not going to fight each other. One of them, I think, needs a fight. I think, bro, Marcos in that matchup would be really intriguing too. Jonathan Martinez got knocked out by Davy Grant. But I think Jonathan Martinez is actually a bad fight for Marcos because he's got the similar kickboxing, but he's a little more precise at this point. I don't know. That's the one that's interesting to me. I could see Marcos getting outstruck by one of the top tier kickboxers in the top 15.
He's not that dangerous, bro. Marcos is just not that dangerous. I am not impressed by your performance, but you know what I am impressed by? Pull up Mark's comment right there. We appreciate
Where's he at?
Mark. That's badass.
Hey,
Thank
my
you very
guy,
much for kicking it off. People have been
Mark,
asking me if I'm in heaven because of the light right now. Mark is helping me get there. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you for the 20.
The gates.
Dude, let's read it off. He says, I'm 76 and I just found MMA 2 years ago. What a waste, so many sporting years. Listen, bro, I'm just glad that you found it now, and I'm glad you can enjoy it with us. It's better than having never found it, because there's people that never ever really witness MMA, and I think they miss out on just such an entertaining sport. You don't have to be a fighter to really appreciate the art going on. You don't have to be a guy that even is training. But if you're into sport and you're like, yo, I want to see the most high intense and hardest real sport on the planet, that's the biggest truth, find out it's MMA. And shit, bro, I'm glad that you found it, dude. I'm glad.
Mark, if you're 76, you were around from Muhammad Ali. You got to see the whole Tyson era. You got to see so many phenomenal fighters. I mean, we go through the list, right? Sugar Ray. You got to see a lot of the greatest boxers of all time. So, you know, we did miss that era. We're in the MMA era, though. So glad to have you on board, my friend.
We got another dono in chat. Robert Salandino, the Italian stallion, throws the 5 at us. He says, my first pay-per-view was Penn versus GSP, Franklin versus Louisia. How do you say that, man?
Loazo. He's trying to say David Loazo.
Loazo. My Italian father didn't understand why it wasn't boxing. I never looked back. He never got it. That's interesting. Well, the real OG, he was like, what is this? I don't understand what's going on. I get it, bro. If you were from like the 1960s and before of the boxing era, just watching that, you probably not even, you're like, no. I stick with just the gloves. But hey, I'm glad that you found it and you're enjoying it. And we really appreciate the 5.
I wonder, Robert, you could tell me maybe if it was GSP versus Penn 2, because the buildup for that with those primetime episodes, BJ Penn running the rock, running that boulder on the ocean floor underneath the water. He'd swim up, take a breath, go run that rock further. Those were so cool. I ended up doing my honeymoon in Hawaii. I think it was from that freaking countdown show. It's called Primetime. Those were amazing, amazing promotional videos. BJ Penn training in Hawaii. You know, Matt Hughes used to make fun of him. He'd be like, you know, I'm up here in Illinois where it's cold as fuck. I'm working. BJ's on the beach enjoying himself. No, BJ lives in heaven over there, like I do right now with all this light on me. And BJ Penn was able to, I mean, with the Marinoviches, got in great shape, but he was able to be at the top of the world. People don't respect BJ Penn enough nowadays, AJ. I know some of these kids, they look at his record, they don't understand those GSP versus BJ Penn, the GSP versus BJ Penn 2 fight specifically. Those guys were at the top of the sport. They were the best pound for pound fighters in the world.
You know, that UFC 109 card we were talking about, it was Penn versus Edgar 1. And I remember going into that fight as a kid, for some reason, just saying, yeah, I think that Frankie Edgar's going to win, picking him. And I ended up fucking getting it right. Looking back, that's what got me into the picks, bro. It started right there with that.
Is that right?
That was crazy, man. Because I feel like at that point, BJ had the aura of like almost like Anderson Silva, like that type of, you know, champion that looked like they were ahead of their division by a bit. And then fucking Frankie Edgar turns out to be one of the toughest guys in the history of the lightweight division, and fucking featherweight thereafter and bantamweight thereafter that.
Yeah, Frankie was just a tough matchup, and that was a close decision when Frankie beat BJ Penn that first fight. That was razor thin, super, super close. So respect to the OGs. Any other fights? Molly Meatball, maybe we should say, holy shit, she cannot defend an armbar to save her life.
Stolyarenko's dangerous.
On the flip side, yes, you got to give it to Stolyarenko. Stolyarenko, you know, I did think that Molly just absolutely let her arm get no leverage there and then just let it get taken. So I was thinking, Molly, how'd you fuck this up? And then when I was rewatching it, Stolyarenko actually did do all that with her hips. The takedown was really nice. She was able to actually arch her back to create the disconnection of the hands. So you got to give it to Stolyarenko. Roger Gracie black belt, I believe.
Come on, that's no fucking joke. Yeah. Right. Holy shit, Stolyarenko looked dangerous. And I warned people after the weigh-ins. I said, man, I was like, I didn't pick flip it, but I was like, man, if I'm putting money anywhere, I'm putting it on Stoliarenko. I got no confidence in McCann. I said, don't have your parlays riding on it. And you know what? Turned out to be a good cautionary tale because Molly Meatballs has always been suspect on the ground, but also something that I wonder, is it that she, is just taking on girls that have that clear gap over? Is Stoliarenko just really underrated on the ground? That's something interesting too. I think that McCann walked into a fight with the Stoliarenko expecting a bum, and what she got is a girl that's actually pretty decent at 125, because she was at bantamweight before. She was up a weight class, and then she even fought at 140, and like Chelsea Chandler whooped her. But Chelsea Chandler is a big, strong girl. Molly McCann is like half the size of Chelsea Chandler. So I guess looking at it now, hindsight 2020, it's like Stoliarenko dropping a weight class. I think she was a dangerous matchup, and she's going to look solid moving forward against some of the more back end flyweights. I mean,
and you know what? We saw Molly McCann's grappling, get exposed a little bit. Obviously, she was up against the highest competition, but it's like we should have known. So that was one we should have had, AJ. We should have dove into that one and understood it. We got 3 donos. Let's knock them out one by one. The first one I can't wait for. Kevin El Basri. You deserve this right now, Kevin. Okay, he's the guy said people don't understand how good BJ Penn was. My man Kevin don't get it. Here it is. The number 15 ranked lightweight is Matt Frivola. AJ, prime BJ Penn versus Matt Frivola. Who wins?
He's got to beat Matt Frivola. I think.
Come on, Kevin.
I think he subs him. He hurts him and then he subs him probably.
Come on, Kevin.
In a 5-round fight too, because he's champ. Like, yeah.
I don't know. Matt Frivola. Absolutely.
I think that. Well, give me another one. Now you got me playing.
Dan Hooker.
He'd beat Dan Hooker. Give me another one. Give me another one. I want to see if I can find somebody that will beat him.
It'd be over. What do you guys want? I mean, we got some. Honestly, you guys might hate this. Prime BJ Penn chokes Michael Chandler too.
I think that Michael Chandler and him would have been sick. I would have been all in for that. I have a tricky time calling that pick, but I'll tell you this. I think he beats Mateusz Gamrot.
BJ Penn can box better than Mike Chandler.
He is,
and BJ Penn can take his back. I know he's got some losses, but guys, look,
he's in his prime though. Yeah.
He fought Machida at 210 pounds at heavyweight. Like the guy fought anybody. So you can't give me his record and just say that he's not great.
Yeah, he's just one of the few guys that would take on anybody. I mean, like you said, all comers type of guy is rare though in this game. Like, who the fuck is gonna take a bad matchup? Yo, I'm going up to heavyweight. I'm gonna fight fucking Machida, this unbeaten Brazilian kid. Like, no guy would do it.
Doing that,
no,
Kevin.
He ain't doing
Matt Frivola ain't fighting Machida. All right, so put some respect on it, Kayvon.
Some respect. I agree with you, Finch. You really just you stood up well for BJ Penn. Mark Begley with the 5. You said I remember Ali. I remember Cain and Abel fighting, bro. He's taking it back. That's funny. This guy's good. That's great.
Very solid joke, Mark. I appreciate that. I'm thinking I'm going to try stand-up comedy for the first time next month. Maybe I'll hit you up for some jokes, dude. That was good. Thank you, Mark.
I think you should, Finch. And I'm waiting for the stand-up special to release to the public so we can link them up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ali Point VTV, drop a donation to the dynamic duo. You're a gem. You're a gem to society, my guy. We appreciate you a fuckload. Ali Point VTV, you're a savage, and you're always showing the love, and we appreciate it, man. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Listen, I like the BJ Penn combo. That was sick, but Molly McCann, the grappling is suspect, okay? It's not something that I think at this point is going to significantly improve, but she said she's dropping a 115 at the very least. There's some fun strikers we can match her up with there. Keep her at the lower weight class. Let's give her some fun fights. I just don't give her somebody that has the clear grappling edge. Like, she goes to 115 on the ground. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think. The top 15, I can't even fucking fathom what's outside of the top 15. I'm trying to give her somebody unranked. I mean, striker. Who we going striker? I don't know at this point, but it's like Diana Belbita, I believe, is at 15, or is she at 35, man?
I don't know, but ban Mr. Pibb Extra from the chat. He's killing us. He's killing us right now. He says his ass hurts. I don't want to know what you've been up to, Mr. Pibb. I don't want to know what you've been up to.
Mike Finch said you're getting a timeout, and Mike Finch gets a timeout in here. We'll time this guy out.
Dixon Sider, we want
Pibb's a wild man.
Appreciate that, Dixon. Thank you. All right. So we know everybody who fights Molly McCann's going to try to take her down. Got it. Done. Davey Grant won that fight. I don't care what you motherfuckers say. Done. Tommy Aspinall, beast. Done. You want to talk some fights?
I want to talk this fight real quick first, sir. Don't tell me you're going to let it pass, bro. I picked Paul Craig. I was one of the few that went against the grain. Now, did I think that he was going to fucking knock him out? Maybe not, but it was ground and pound. So I guess I could have seen it, but he fucking did it, man. He came down a weight class and he broke Muniz there in a fight that was scary at moments, though, because Muniz is very dangerous. I feel like Paul Craig is a fun player at 185, and I like that he called out Bo Nickel after.
Yeah, I actually didn't see the Bo Nickel call out, so that's dope. I kind of like that fight. Let's do that. Paul Craig's definitely live by submission in that one. Look, man, they went back and forth. That was a good fight. They both had positions and they were battling it out. They were scrapping a little on the feet. It looked like Muniz had some moments on the feet, and they were both, scrapping on the ground pretty well too. Is Muniz the most durable, mentally strong guy who can make it through adversity? No. And Paul Craig can weather more of a storm than Muniz. I think that made a difference.
I think that, you said it right. The weather, the storm, and is Muniz, I don't know. He's like straight line. Like, I don't know how to describe it. He seems very, almost like robotic a little bit with Muniz, bro. I don't got a great robot, but, he's a little bit robotic. It's not explosive really or fast with the striking. He's got good jiu-jitsu and he's long, but it depends on who he's fighting. Paul Craig weathered the storm and fucking finished them off. And it was good. Yeah, and hey, I hit with the fucking lock of the week. I'm back with a vengeance, Mike.
Hey.
We got wood. Holy shit. And that was a scary fight.
Lock. If you cashed my parlay, show us some love. You guys have been generous already today.
Let's go. Mike, I want to get into the
Feely was a scrap. You bringing this up. Wood and Feely, they threw down.
It was a scrap. I was like, damn, son. Wood's got a big beat. Yeah, he's a dog. He's a tough dude, man. Feely's dangerous for sure. And Wood's nasty, though. He takes a big punch and he doesn't quit. I like
these guys got heart. Muniz, take a page out of their book, bro. These guys have got heart. Feely, you can punch him in the face. He's still trying to beat you up. And he was much bigger than Wood. Nathaniel Wood is not that big. Feely looks huge in there. I've never seen Feely quite that jacked. So, Feely was coming to win, man. He had some moments for sure.
I like the fight. I like the Wood win, and I'm happy to be jumping to UFC 291, bro. We got to get into the picks, man. Let's get into it. So people, make sure you smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let me pop a zin in real quick, and let's get into the first fight of the night. It's Miranda Maverick versus Priscilla Cachoeira. Cacho beating Priscilla Miss Dangerous hands, but overall is not offering a ton of high-level game elsewhere. I'm picking Miranda Maverick, Mike Finch, and like I understand she lost to Jazz Davicius last time. She was a big favorite. She's a big favorite here. But at the end of the day, Cachoeira, height advantage. Yes, probably punching power advantage. It's not like Miranda Maverick still can't get inside, get a hold of her, drag her down where her advantage clearly lies. And I think that Miranda Maverick does win this fight on the judges' scorecards. I'm going to say decision. Obviously, it's not one that I'm telling you to go throw money at really, because Maverick is a big favorite in the spot. And then you think about it like, shit, Miranda Maverick didn't look that great against Jazz Davicius. Cachoeira hits hard. Could she put her lights out? If you're going to do anything with it, I think it would be a parlay extension, at least me personally. What do you think, Finch?
Yeah, before that Jazz Davicius fight, I thought Miranda Maverick was here. Before the Lipsky fight, I thought Cachoeira was here. Cachoeira looked pretty good. Maverick, had a tough night. The momentum change could make this a little different, but I would still assume that Miranda Maverick could dominate this fight. She has to watch out for the hands of Cachoeira, but Miranda Maverick should decide where the fight takes place, and she shouldn't suffer from the same problems she did up there in Canada. Jazz Davicius just fought a great fight that night, really prepared correctly for her, and offers completely different weapons from Cachoeira. So as long as Cachoeira doesn't gouge her eyeballs out, I'll take Miranda Maverick UD.
Miranda Maverick to win, sitting at minus 286 as the favorite here. I think that because of the loss last time out, I guess I would have liked to have seen it a little bit closer. We have fight going distance. It's not even available. Man, they got limited prop options for what I'm looking at. They got the bookies really digging into the props for this pay-per-view, man. I got nothing here for as far as props. I'm looking at the over 2.5 is available, and that sits at -115. What do you think, Finch? Are we going all three probably in this one, or you think
I would
potential?
assume so, brother. I
Right?
mean, to my knowledge, Priscilla Cachoeira not the easiest woman to finish.
She's
Is
not.
that true? Jillian Robertson choked her. That's right. That's
But
right.
Jillian Robertson, she can grapple though. She can grapple.
Luana Carolina decision, Molly McCann decision.
That Luana.
Yeah, Miranda Maverick can grapple. Shit. I think decision. Yeah, I'm looking at this because the thing for Molly, not Molly, Miranda would potentially be rear naked strangle, right? Takes her down. Priscilla's trying to strike. She's getting back up, slaps that choke on. That's live. Personally, better fights to watch and bet on this card, folks.
Yeah, I'll read you main thing props. I just found them. Shout out to Bet Online for being on it with everything here. They got Miranda Maverick to win on points is +200, and then Miranda Maverick by submission sits at +145. More so thinking she wins it on the card. She's -286 as a favorite. It definitely looks more like the longer shot in a parlay as opposed to just want to fire money line. At least for me, man. At least for me.
Got you. Harry Plopper in the chats claims to have trained with Miranda Maverick before she moved to Elevation. Be careful betting her. I don't think she's improved since joining Elevation. You're going to train with somebody, come on here and disrespect them? Like, damn, all right. Be careful who you train with, folks.
I don't think Harry Plopper's training with anybody. I think the name gives it away, man. If his name was like Dan Smith, I would have never questioned him. But the fact we got Harry Plopper, most likely he can train with pro fighters. I'm gonna say fiction.
It's fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news, CNN.
Fake news.
Get out of here.
I think
I knew it was fake news as soon as I saw it.
That's fake news. That's that's a Priscilla Cachoeira backer, just trying to sway them to the plus money side. But yeah, give me Maverick for the win. I do think she pulls it off. And I mean, you wouldn't be crazy for having it in a parlay or anything like that. She should win the fight. She should win. It's just a little bit of a wide money line for, Maverick, who's at times fumbled the bag at times.
Agreed. Maverick UD.
Let's go. Next fight on the card. We got Matt Semelsberger versus Uros Medic. Talk about a fight that I am excited for, my man. I'm stoked to see these two facing off because when Uros Medic came from the Contender Series, like he was looking like a problem. Now, concern for me. He had surgery recently a few months ago, I believe on his left hand, and also the fact that he's fighting at 170 against a guy that's very durable in Matt Semelsberger and was cracking Jeremiah Wells on the feet, who's built like a little freight train. Yes, I think Medic is going to be more technical with the kicks from the outside, but he's at a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Semelsberger is a larger, more muscular frame than him. He's just a naturally bigger guy, and I think he's going to probably finish Medic in the second or third round. I like Medic. He's got potential and skill, but upper weight class, it's very concerning for me against a guy like Semelsberger. Now, it's not that he's never fought upper weight class. He fought at 170 outside the UFC, and bro, Medic actually debuted in MMA as a middleweight. That's something I dug into, and I like his technical skills. I do think Semelsberger finishes him. The way that Medic wins is if he's really able to get the body kicks going, and I think he'd have to find that money body kick because I think hands on hands, it's competitive and Semelsberger's stronger.
You got it. Medic, the way Medic wins is by finish, AJ. He finishes people. He finishes fights. And when does Semelsberger get finished? Goes to a split decision with Jeremiah Wells, decision with Jake Matthews, decision with Alex Verono, decision with AJ Fletcher. I mean, we're seeing even Chaos Williams a decision. Chaos Williams is very dangerous. So Semelsberger likes to stretch it out. I think Medic probably wins the first round because he's more talented. But as Semelsberger's pressure wears on him, I could see him getting 2 and 3. Good fight, a super fun one. I do see what you're saying with the Medic body kick. Semelsberger probably wears on him. He's a big, tough guy, durable, as you said. And let's give him a 29-28.
I like it, man. I'm thinking the possibility of finish for the fact that Medic has also never been distanced before, which is something interesting. And the fact he's coming in on short notice. It was originally Johan Lainez scheduled to fight against Semelsberger. Medic stepped up. So I'm like, maybe the gas is not 100%, surgery not that long ago. Maybe he has an itch to get back in there. Could be rushing it a bit. I don't know. I just like Medic better at 55. And we're going Semelsberger for the win. Now, as far as the lines for the fight, Semelsberger is a minus 220 favorite to Uros Medic as a plus 185 underdog here. And the line has spread, bro, because originally when I first saw the lines, it was around minus 140. Wow, it opened at minus 175 and worked its way all the way to minus 140 for Semelsberger. But now it's really spread out in favor of Semelsberger. He's a fair size favorite. Now I'm going to just read off the knockout and decision prop here. I am thinking a KO TKO. It's plus 185 for that. And then on the other side, though, if you're thinking decision by Semelsberger, plus 275. Let me see, though. Second or third round TKO is interesting. So Semelsberger by second round KO plus 750, third round plus 1100, or you could even just go potentially in that round, because I think the possibility of him getting it done in the second or third is more likely than the first here. Like, because I agree that Medic early is going to be faster and look more slick. You think Medic is mentally weak? I like this one because something I was looking at with Medic, bro, is when he was fighting Jalen Turner, he was like, oh, fuck, no. Like, I'm getting hurt. This guy keep bullying me. And then I look at the frame of Semelsberger. I'm like, that's a guy that bullies him, man. I think he's taking the L, man. He might win.
If you guys are thinking Medici, you're probably thinking first round. I mean, he pretty much all of his wins are in the first round. So you got to be careful with guys like that. We were talking about the big man earlier. Gasses for a different reason, but Shane Carwin, same thing. 10 first round finishes. Brock Lesnar takes him to the second round. You remember what he said in between rounds? He's like, I can't feel my legs. I can't feel my legs. So guys who are used to first round finishes obviously have trouble in 2 and 3.
Yeah, agreed, bro. We're going Semi the Jedi Semelsberger for the W. And I'm going to go KO, TKO, Finch going decision. Either way, we're on the same side with the Semelsberger win. Next fight on the card is CJ Vergara versus Vinicius Salvador. I like the matchmaking here because Salvador is coming off of a loss in his last fight against Victor Altamirano, but he's a heavy-handed guy who won on Contender Series. He throws more wide and powerful shots, whereas on the opposite side, though, Vergara is tighter down the center. He's also got a proven gas tank, and Vergara can take shots. I mean, his recovery is incredible here. He's a guy that bounced back from being badly hurt in his last fight against Daniel Lacerda and then going off to get a finish win of his own. There's no breaking him. Salvador, I do think, throws heavy shots, but I expect Vergara to be able to find strikes of his own, potentially takedowns too. I look at the Ode Osborne fight. Third round, Vergara was still bringing it to him. And with Salvador, I don't think he has that level of gas tank nor the precision of a guy to the level of Ode Osborne. So I'm going Vergara for the win. I am feeling like Vergara on the scorecards is a very live thing here. I originally wrote down Vergara decision, and I will be sticking with that official call.
Vergara decision makes sense because Salvador is a knockout specialist, man. Yep. He is very, very special. The way he can counterpunch, he keeps his hands down, kind of stays on a swivel, boom, boom, boom. He'll just find those big shots. It's the shots you don't see that really hurt you, and Salvador knows how to deliver those really well. He's so much more talented than Vergara. You know me, I like picking CJ Vergara. I've picked CJ Vergara a couple times and luckily have been able to get those, when I have picked CJ, but in this one, I don't know. I certainly wouldn't bet on it. I think Salvador's got a real chance to knock him out because, you said it on the previous show where you were saying that CJ likes to keep his hands up well, and that'll be a good thing. Or not, or because he does this, those punches can come through as he blocks. I much prefer the person who just makes him miss entirely. CJ is going to be trying to put pressure on him, shoot takedowns. I could imagine him running up to some uppercut left hook from fucking purgatory. I think that there's a real live chance Salvador knocks him out. So I know most of you guys like to bet the day before, but a live bet on this one would be interesting. If you could see Salvador get a little tired, get taken down once, it's CJ all day. If CJ can get him tired and get that pop away, it's CJ all day. But if he can't get that takedown, if Salvador's got snap and whip to his shots, I'm a little concerned, bro. I am having a tough time with this one. I should probably go with my guy, CJ Vergara, who I always ride with, but fuck it. I'm going to go Salvador knockout. Entertain me, Vinicius. Let's see some gangster shit.
I listen, bro. I respect you going the side of Salvador against your boy. He's a plus 130 dog being Salvador. And then Vergara is minus 150, the favorite here. I like a win on the cards for Vergara because I do think what you said is going to happen. The straight's going to land, takedown's going to land. He's going to start wearing a Salvador out. And Vergara is going to be able to have, a push towards the second or third round. I think Vergara is a guy that gets better as it goes on, whereas Salvador is a guy that starts really good and then slowly but surely he gets frustrated. He starts getting a little wilder. And I don't know, losing to Victor Altamirano, it was not, like he just got completely ran over, but he definitely lost the fight. I think that Vergara is a technically better style than even an Altamirano, but I will say Altamirano, though, is a tough SOB. But if you're watching his technique, the way Altamirano's throwing is not overly slick. And I'm thinking about this. I'm like, damn, okay, Vergara is definitely more tight with the hands, slicker, and then the gas tank. And then I'm like, yo, Altamirano started training MMA at 26, bro. He started so late. Vergara, to me, I think in this matchup will have a way to win, man. I feel like, not that if Altamirano can do it, Vergara definitely will, but I do take that as a positive, attribute moving in. A durable guy was able to take a Salvador, a durable guy with some slickness. I guess I like Vergara more than you do here, man. I do think he's got a real shot.
No, you're making good points though, bro. I'm telling you, I'm keeping my money in my wallet.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get the popcorn out. This is gonna be a fun ass fight. I'm kind of rooting for Salvador. He's such an exciting guy to watch. I would love to see him do his head movement, some crazy slip, pop, 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 come up some nice combos. Yeah, he's a fun guy to watch. But Vergara has the tools to potentially get it done. So it'll be a good fight. And picking a dog, why not? Fuck it.
Vergara to win by decision is an interesting line on my end.
Sure.
It's plus 275.
That's how he do it.
Salvador by KO is at plus 225. So either side that you're on, if you like the prop side, you're getting over plus 200 money. And we got a question here, Mike, that I wanted both of us to answer. When handicapping a fight between a grappler and a striker, how do you figure out who do you think will be able to get the better? So, or to get the fight to go their way. There we go. I misread the hell out of that thing. But I would say on my end of the thing, it's going to be, okay, how effective is this striker at fending off grapplers in the past? If a guy in the past has been suspect with takedown defense and we've seen him maybe lose a fight or even get controlled for a significant portion of time, then I ask myself, is the guy who's more so a grappler one that can take a shot and someone who's going to bring pressure, and even if it's not going his way, continue to fight for it? So I would say if it's like a purist striker and more of a purist grappler, I've made the mistake at times, but I do think that I slightly favor who's got the better wrestling as a big factor if the striker hasn't shown me like significant get-ups and capability on the floor. So honestly, man, the best way I can put it is matchup specific. Check how many fights there's. Like if you've seen a fight and you watching two guys fight for your research and there's no takedowns in that fight, and the guy that they're fighting is a wrestler, and you go to the fight before you didn't see it, go to UFC stats, find out which fight they were in a little bit of a wrestling match, see if there's takedowns exchange, and then I go to UFC Fight Pass and look up that specific matchup. So I guess you can also sometimes dig a little deeper than like the past two and look at how they performed against someone who might bring X style to them.
And there's also many different styles of striking, and there are many different styles of grappling. So it's important to understand the differences there. Paul Craig doesn't have the best offensive takedowns, but he does have a nice submission game, and he throws strikes on the ground. And then some people have tremendous offensive takedowns, but once they get you down, they don't do a ton of damage. So there's all these little variables that you have to consider when you're thinking about how a fight might play out. And the same thing with strikers, right? There are some strikers who are phenomenal in certain matchups, but then they get their roundhouse kicks caught, or you want to find strikers that are not going to sort of give their legs up for takedowns and be in bad positions. So it matters how you stand, it matters how you move, and these things come into play with matchups. So you try to look at a matchup and think, what kind of grappler are they? What kind of striker are they? What evidence have we seen in the past of the striker getting taken down and the grappler being able to take people down? And then you try to figure that out. And then, of course, obviously, danger. if the striker is extremely dangerous, Rumble Johnson might knock you the fuck out before you even get to him. So you always run that risk as well. So there's a lot of, there's a lot of 4D chess going on here when you're thinking about this. It's not very easy, David, but that's why we tune in every single week with this show, right? I listen to AJ every single Sunday, and then on Monday I come in here and agree and disagree with him. And that's why that's why we do this, because we don't know, and we have to we have to just make our best educated guess. And the more educated we are, the better the guess is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Perfectly fucking said. Hopefully that answers your question, my guy. And we also got a dono in the chat, turned $5 into 200. Thank you, MMA experts, my guy, Patrick Wilkins. We appreciate the love from you, brother. Thank you for the cash and good shit on making that money, my man. I'm glad to hear you cashing with a little bit of the bets and parlays, bro. My guy, Mike. We can talk all day. We got to jump to the next fight, though. We got to keep moving on up this card. The fourth fight on the card is Jake Matthews versus Darrius Flowers, which is an interesting one, okay? Darrius Flowers is a heavy-handed and really strong guy with the wrestling base, a hard-nosed dude. On the other side, though, I got Jake Matthews, who has a ton of UFC experience, right? Looks pretty slick in the stand-up and is experienced enough so where a guy like Flowers, I'm not overly concerned about him just being bullied in the grappling. Like Flowers is more of a knockout artist wrestler. He's going to, look to wrestle a bit, but he's throwing heavy hands on you. He's not just looking to chain wrestle all night. So I think that in the striking, Jake Matthews is slicker, but then I run into the question of, okay, Darrius Flowers might be heavier handed, right? The wrestling is a little bit of a concern too. How is the movement overall in the striking? Matthews is slicker. He's the better kickboxer. And also Flowers is coming in on very short notice here. So now I got a 3-round fight. I got a Jake Matthews who's never had really a suspect chin versus a guy in Darrius Flowers who's got heavy hands, some wrestling for sure, but a lot of intangibles that we don't even know about. We haven't seen him in the UFC yet. His win on Contender Series was quick. You look at him outside the UFC, he's running through some opposition, and there's some things to be impressed by. But I'm not saying that Jake Matthews is the lock of the century because I know his line is going to be crazy wide. I expect this to be an interesting fight. It should be Matthews, probably with a later stoppage because Flowers is coming in on short notice. But when you have these guys on short notice that are hungry, it's not like Jake Matthews was preparing for Flowers either, though. And now you got a dangerous style. Maybe this is one you just sit back, you watch, or you bet the dog against the pick. I'm going Matthews, but it's just a little bit risky. I think Flowers is a guy that maybe doesn't have a ton of hype on him right now, but I saw danger when I watched him enough so that I'm like, I don't want to lay the money at fucking Matthews is a big favorite.
I'm going to put Tanner Austin on Flowers. And he posted the little emoji. Will knock out these fraud Aussies.
Oh, shit.
Words are always getting sparked. Damn, Tanner. You came for the head with that one.
Let's see.
Matthews has been in the UFC since 2014. Have you guys heard me say this before? That's back when Barack Obama was president. That's a long time. As to where Flowers is just coming into the UFC right now, I think it's a real advantage that Matthews is only 28 years old and he's been in the UFC that long. I mean, he should feel very comfortable, as I can imagine Flowers gassing out, having some nerves under the bright lights. Flowers by knockout is live. I respect it. Tanner, if you're putting money on it, God bless. I respect it, but I won't be. I think Matthews could probably grind him out in a decision. Matthews knocked out on Fiallo. Okay, if you're KOing Fiallo, I'm going to give you enough credit to be able to handle this newcomer.
I think that you said it right. He's got the experience. He knocked out Fiallo. It's like, I think that Matthews should win. I guess it's just the concerns with a guy coming in hungry and who looks dangerous in Flowers. But yeah, he hasn't fought to the level of competition of a Jake Matthews. Now, as far as the odds, which is, wide at this point, Matthews is minus 270 as the favorite and Flowers at plus 230 as the underdog. So that's a fairly large size favorite for Jake Matthews here. Realistically, when guys come in on short notice, it should go the other way. It should go Jake Matthews fighting smart, doing his thing and beating them. But there's just got to be a little bit of relative concern on my end. about the potential for the hands coming through for Flowers, bro. You know what I'm saying, Finch? Like you get the fear a little bit with a guy like Flowers.
Yeah, 100%. I understand that he has these capabilities, but it's like, how many times have we seen the guys come into the UFC and have troubles? And against the Jake Matthews, they weren't giving him any, they weren't giving anybody to walk over. Jake Matthews, they even gave some fights like they were building him. Remember, he fought Diego Sanchez.
Yeah.
I mean, the UFC was giving Matthews fights like they were going to start putting him on. It seemed like they were building him. And, of course, he's had a couple performances that didn't go his way, but that's the UFC, right? I think Flowers is yet to find out. I could buy myself flowers, write my name in the sand. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Matthews is going to get a decision.
I like that. I like the Matthews decision call. I think it's very live. And yeah, I'm picking Matthews to win. And I guess you are right, though. They were trying to build him until Sean Brady. And then Sean Brady fucked him up. And they said, okay, Sean Brady, we're going to back of it. And then Sean Brady ran into Bilal. But at the end of the day, I think that was Matthews.
Sean Brady? Are you hearing the names? Just say they're good fucking guys.
Good fighters. Flowers ain't fought none of them. Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Flowers ain't been in there. So you think Matthews, would you call him a confident pick?
I didn't say that. I didn't say
all
that.
Right.
Yeah. I like Matthews. I like Matthews better than, Vinicius Salvador. Yeah.
Okay. All right. But at the minus 270, I guess betting wise confidence.
You're going to see some picks I like.
All right. We'll save it for the parlays.
Stay in your seat. Keep it buckled up. Here we go.
Let's go. Let's keep on moving. Matthews for the win for us both there. Next fight is Roman Kopylov versus Claudio Ribeiro. I think that Roman Kopylov is going to beat Ribeiro in this fight here. I know Ribeiro hits hard, and I see Mike Finch's face over here. He's making like, the power is real for Ribeiro. I think that Kopylov is better technically. I think he's got a more well-rounded game, and he's a southpaw. And you know what I like about Kopylov? He throws a nice jab that keeps the opponents coming off of him, where Ribeiro is a heavy-handed guy who wants to land bombs. He's going to look to throw heavy hooks in close range, big uppercuts, and really try to get to his opponent. Kopylov better from the longer ranges. I think that's a big factor. And when they go inside, Kopylov has some sambo. He's got a background. I think that in the grappling department, I could see Kopylov even landing trips and surprising a Ribeiro. But overall, I don't think Ribeiro is going to be bullying Kopylov on the ground like, Ribeiro did last time out, I believe, against, it was Joseph Holmes, how he easily handled him. Kopylov is not an easy guy to bully there. So I do think Kopylov pulls it off. Hard fought fight. Official prediction from me is going to be a Kopylov KO TKO, bro.
Damn, dude, what a good fight. I love to see this shit. I was really impressed by Mr. Roman Kopylov. I agree. I like how he doesn't load up on his shots. I mean, a big difference between these two guys. Ribeiro pulls those punches back like he's loading a bow. Boom, he's trying to fucking put it right through your body. As to where Kopylov is relaxed, there's no wind up on anything as he's moving. He's just picking away at you. The low kicks are quick. The jabs are quick. So he's a round winner. He's a guy who could chip away at you. I do like the win over Punahele Soriano. Big deal for him, and gives him some momentum coming into this one too, getting the knockout win. Fuck, is Claudio Ribeiro good? And at these odds, I mean, he's a minus 230 favorite over Claudio. Claudio hits like a freight train, dude. I feel like those odds are a little wide. So I'm gonna go Kopylov too, but I would be sweating bullets if I bet on him at those odds.
It is wide for Kopylov. He's sitting right now, around, I even see it upwards of minus 255. I'm looking at here.
Bro,
Ribeiro at plus 215.
Ribeiro can decapitate people.
It's hard. I think it's one of those fights, though. You want to back Kopylov with money as a guy that should win, or, do you go heavy-handed dog who's got maybe a 30% chance to land the bomb on him? Because if he hits it on the chin, he can knock out anybody. I think Kopylov is going to beat him, but the odds are a little ugly here with Kopylov as a pretty large favorite. If you do like Ribeiro, knockout for him is plus 285. Kopylov on points is plus 335, and then Kopylov TKO plus 100. I think Kopylov is going to win the fight. But it's a little bit wide. I mean, the odds aren't beautiful. I still think Kopylov beats him though, man. I see the big plus money and the hype of oh shit. Like, Ribeiro hits so hard. Fuck it. He's a dog you can back. But I don't know, man. I'm not a believer in Ribeiro's game. Oh, Salandino brought up something good, and it's at altitude, and Ribeiro's gasses after the first.
Yeah,
like we know Ribeiro's a heavy-handed guy. Gasses maybe,
Exactly. Yeah, Aaron brought that up in the chat. That's a good point. Elevation could be a big deal here. Claudio Ribeiro, is going to be swanging big. And as Kopylov chips away at him, remember, Kopylov is very active. He throws a lot of punches. And so I could imagine Ribeiro missing a counter, missing another counter, and getting tired. It's a great point. It's another route for Kopylov to win. Do it with the lungs.
Yeah, I like it, bro. Kopylov for the W for us both over Claudio Ribeiro. Next fight on the card is a heavyweight, heavy-handed brawl, bro. It's Derrick Lewis, man. Derrick Lewis versus Rogério de Lima. You know what I'm saying?
Brawl.
We got. Did I say Rogério de Lima? Excuse me. No, not Rogério de Lima. Marcos Rogério de Lima. I gotta give him the full name treatment. I think that I have to pick Derrick Lewis, and I'm picking him. And I understand that De Lima has got a chin. He kicks hard. He's got the better ground game. But Derrick Lewis, he's losing to the top end of heavyweight, and now he's getting a step, against somebody towards the back end. Not the back end of the whole division, but outside of that, top 10, top 15. De Lima's a dangerous guy. He just, got a win against Waldo Acosta last time out. But I think that Derrick Lewis could knock out a De Lima, and I don't want to be swayed by De Lima never being knocked out in the UFC to saying that Derrick Lewis couldn't knock him out. I mean, Derrick Lewis has some dynamite punching power. De Lima does have the head the size of a fucking, I don't know, damn cinder block or something. It's like I don't know what the fuck it would be. It's like this guy's head. I just think that Derrick Lewis can knock out probably anybody if he hits him clean. And De Lima, I don't think has this great wrestling and this phenomenal striking where he's not going to be in punching range for Derrick Lewis to catch him. So I'm going to go Derrick Lewis by knockout, but I understand that it's a dangerous pick.
Ty Finch is rocking the hospital gown. Bud's in an asylum if he thinks this fight is going the distance. What would make you think that I think these two marauders are going to go the distance? Of course not. Of course not. Derrick Lewis has been finished in the first or second round in his last 3 or 4 fights. I mean, and you're right. It's against, Spivak and Tai Tuivasa and great heavyweights. But I think the time of Derrick Lewis KOs and holy shit, he's so explosive. Look how he gets up. I think those days, I'm sorry, folks. I think they're gone. I think De Lima is going to strangle his ass. I'm fading Derrick Lewis constantly now. He's been my favorite fades for all those 3 picks. I had all those ding, and I'm going to get ding, De Lima by submission. Oh. I know AJ wants to see it. AJ, you don't want to deal with the truth. You can't handle the truth. The truth is that the Black Beast is now the Black House Cat. It is over for him, man. And I got respect for the guy. I'm just being funny. I don't mean to be disrespectful.
Derrick Lewis, this guy.
Derrick Lewis does not have the foundation of a martial artist to rely on. When guys get older, they have the wrestling. Derrick Lewis has relied on raw, explosive power. And that raw, explosive power seems to be waning. And you're going to tell me that we're going to do a Derrick Lewis fight at elevation? You're telling me we're going to do a Derrick Lewis fight at elevation? De Lima by submission in the first round.
It's first round sub for the Finch, man. Listen, you got to give me a moment, Mike, because I got to take on that. You got to give me a second here, all right? You got.
Sorry, bro. I know you like Derrick Lewis. I get it, but
Nah. Mike Finch, I understand your side, but I'm sad to hear it. Because I got to see a D-Lou knockout one last time, man. It's not done yet. I think he finds De Lima, but I will say, watching De Lima fight, if he has the gas tank, can wear on a, Derrick Lewis, and then submission opens up, Derrick Lewis crumbles. But hey, it takes one with Derrick Lewis, and I think he's the first guy in the UFC to knock out De Lima, and the knockout king gets a W and should probably retire it and call it a great run.
I love this comment. Lush Lomain, who has better grappling, DeLima or Curtis? Curtis couldn't get him down. This is exactly what we were talking about earlier, where it's not just striker versus grappler. It's not just every wrestler is the same. Why did Curtis Blades fail to get Derrick Lewis down? Because he shot from another zip code away. That's not what DeLima should be doing here. You guys remember, DeLima knocked out Ben Rothwell. DeLima can bang it out with big heavyweights who swing hard punches. He can do that. I think he can get to Derrick Lewis, and in the exchanges, he could get takedowns on the fence. He could get takedowns from clinches. He could shoot doubles on the fence. It's not what Curtis Blades failed at doing, which was Curtis Blades had trouble shooting on the outside. And I know it doesn't seem like that long ago, but it's long enough to where I don't think we're seeing the same Derrick Lewis we saw that night as well.
There's no faith in Derrick Lewis from Mike
faith.
Finch. Guys,
Sometimes
sometimes you gotta have a little faith.
No faith.
One last dance. One last dance. Derrick Lewis by knockout. Derrick Lewis by knockout. I'm going Derrick Lewis by KO. Let's bring up the lines. Let's check it out here. We got Lewis as a large underdog plus 180. Finch, the bookies agree, minus 210 DeLima to win. And I'm going to also read off the props here for these guys. I'll first read off Lewis knockout plus 165. DeLima sub is plus 450 if you do like that DeLima sub. Damn, it's wide. Lewis just to win by knockout plus 165. It's actually worse off. Just bet a money line at plus 180. That doesn't make any sense to me. We got the knockout prop for Derrick Lewis at plus 165 with the KO at plus 180, man. That's fucking funny.
Whoa. Obviously, you would money line Derrick. What maniac would pick KO at that?
I just money lined Derrick Lewis with a little something. I had to.
No, you didn't.
It's the final dance, bro.
AJ.
It's the last dance, bro.
Can none of us talk any sense into AJ? Oh, my God.
It's the last dance. I'm betting Derrick. Win or I'd rather lose with Derrick Lewis than not. All right? I'm winning with him, though. He's getting the knockout.
Okay. Why is Derrick Lewis motivated to win this fight? For what?
You know why? Because there's a fucking money bag at the end of it.
Brother, he's going to get his show money. He's going to get his show money. I think you hit the nail on the head. Rob Whitaker told us before he fought Dricus Duplessis, he said, I'm here for the check. I needed a check to hit the bank account. You saw Dricus Duplessis. Dricus Duplessis was fighting for legacy, for title, for everything he ever dreamed of. DeLima has much higher hopes than Derrick Lewis. Derrick Lewis has been there, even when Derrick Lewis was at the top, even when he did fight for the title twice and lost to DC and Cyril Gane. In those fights, he still was not very high level, very technical. He never really showed us that he was, Derrick Lewis would never belong on a pound for pound list. I think DeLima is much more skilled with the grappling and should be able to handle it on the striking. I'm sorry, AJ, but I'm confident in DeLima.
Respect on the other side, but DeLima is getting slapped, Mike Finch. DeLima's going to bed. I'm going against you on this one, and I got my money up on D.
I'm going to put money on DeLima.
Let's go. I like to
bet each. You want to bet each other? No,
I already bet on. I've already bet, and I want plus 180, bro. If I'm just betting even Stevens, you got the
plus
advantage.
180. We're going straight down the line.
No. I'll bet with the books to get my plus 180. So let's go. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight on it brings us to the featured prelim of the night. It's Trevin Giles taking on Gabriel Bonfim. Now, Finch, I'm picking Bonfim to win this fight here, okay? But I'll say this. Giles is experienced as hell. He's got a win over Delidze. It's just that I don't think he has these big punches to keep a guy like Bonfim off of him who likes the pressure. And then the fact that Bonfim has a lot of wins by submission, man. Like Bonfim, the brothers are, kind of probably to the casual eye where you're thinking of heavy hands, you're thinking of power, you're thinking of dangerous kickboxing. This Bonfim brother is strangling opponents. And Trevin Giles, I think, could get caught in a submission here with Bonfim. I do believe Bonfim is more powerful and more poised and technical on the feet. I know his brother just lost, but don't compare. The one brother wins, one brother loses. This is the younger brother. I think that this Bonfim brother is actually the more talented one, more well-versed one. I think that Trevin Giles is going to end up getting touched up a bit on the feet. Early, he'll be competitive with his speed, but Bonfim is going to continue to be in his face. I expect at points, Giles may be potentially panic shooting, putting himself in bad positions with Bonfim's grappling defense, then setting up a reversal to even get him on top, or even a Bonfim takedown. I think Bonfim wins this fight. I'm going Bonfim for the W, and I think I have to ride with the win by submission to just go with the streak, man. We'll go Bonfim by sub, another sub in the bag.
Sheesh. Damn. All right. Yeah, well, we saw the Gerald Mearshart sub, the Zach Cummings sub. So Trevin Giles has tapped before, but as of late, looking pretty good, man. The Preston Parsons win was nice. The Kosei win was nice, you know. Trevin Giles is a vet. I mean, he's going to be a real test for Bonfim, you know, and Bonfim is a phenom for sure. He's very, very talented. I agree, the better of the two brothers, but Trevin Giles, I was kind of impressed with in his last one. So I'm not sleeping on Trevin Giles. I do think it's a real test for him. He's like, you could just call it like UFC caliber. Trevin Giles in 2023, I think is better than ever, better than he's ever been. And he's UFC caliber. Like, it's a real check on Bonfim. You know, how good is he? How good is he really? I think that Gabriel is going to win too. Gabriel is going to be able potentially, and here's an AJ call, potentially club and sub.
Round of applause to the fit. I like it, bro. Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that there is going to be a lot of people, though, jumping ship because his brother got beat last time. And like, oh, they're both Bonfims are going down. They're overrated. This is the different one. This is the one that showed the wrinkles on the floor. And I think being a well-rounded mixed martial artist is the style that beats a Trevin Giles. Because a Giles is a guy that can do it all fairly well. He's a good athlete with quick hands. He's got a competent ground game too. It's just, I think Bonfim more powerful, more dangerous, and poised, I think, right now to make a run. And I'll say this, man, when I watch Bonfim fight, he doesn't look 25. He looks older than that. He seems to have like a calmness to his style that shows he has a shitload of experience, though. I mean, Bonfim right now, 14-0 as a pro at just 25 years of age. Like, that's pretty sick, honestly, man. He's been doing it since 2014. He's been a professional. He's been a pro since he was 16 years old. Is that? Holy shit. That's pretty badass, man.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Hey, I would have fought at 16. I wanted to fight. They said you got to be 18 to fight. So I waited until I was 18. I was in high school and I had my first fight. So you know what I mean? I mean, we've been training for a long time. And Bonfim's young. Yeah. How young is Bonfim?
25, bro.
Age right here. 25, 97 he was born. So yeah, he's been training his whole life, bro. That's how they get down there in Brazil. I'm a fan, dude. I think Bonfim is a phenom and he gets past Trevin Giles, but you know, I see a lot of people like, you know, this is an easy fight or whatever. Trevin Giles is going to be a test for him. Trevin Giles is going to, you know, try to grind out this decision, and Bonfim is going to have an answer for him. I just think he does.
I agree with you. We're on Bonfim, and he's a big favorite. Minus 310 for Bonfim is wide as a favorite, but I do think he wins. I don't have any prop bets available right now. I am not seeing any right now. I would say a Bonfim sub prop catches my eye, but as it looks, I don't think they exist right now. Let's see. I'm digging through wherever I can find, man.
I think Bonfim money line would be fine. Is it that wide, fam? Is it
310, bro? 310.
It is that wide. Wow, they disrespecting Trevin Giles. Trevin Giles is an OG at this point. Shit.
They ain't giving him no love, man.
But he's been here, bro. He beat James Krause in 2020. I mean,
I was rooting for James Krause in that fight. I remember it.
He beat up James Boknovic, who's my friend. Shout out to James Boknovic in 2017. I mean, he beat Ryan Spann in 2017. My man's been around.
He's been around. That's pretty crazy. He did beat the big boy Ryan Spann. Bonfim is in a real fight. I do think he comes through, though. I think he's the guy. I think he's a good prospect.
He definitely is a good prospect. Yeah, Bonfim is special. 14-0. He's got that confidence. Yeah, he might get a little tired in there in that elevation, but let's ride with him.
Let's go. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys haven't, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's start off the UFC 291 main card. It's Kevin Holland versus Michael Chiesa. Mike Finch. I'm picking Chiesa, bro. I am going in this matchup here with the wrestler, because we had that question earlier on, wrestler / grappler in Chiesa. A guy that definitely is at a disadvantage in pure striking with Kevin Holland for an absolute. But the contrary on the ground is Chiesa on top is pretty dangerous and strong. And then I look at this. Kevin Holland is getting taken down in almost every one of his fights, whereas Michael Chiesa on the flip side has only one knockout loss on his record, and it was a cut stoppage years ago against Joe Lozon. So I got a good chin on Michael Chiesa's side, and then I got Kevin Holland, who's getting taken down way too often. I just have to go with Chiesa to be able to control him on the ground. At the end of the day, Chiesa, he bullied freaking RDA on the ground, man. He bullied Dos Anjos there. And it's not, oh, well, Kevin Holland's a middleweight. He's bigger. But at the end of the day, Chiesa's pressure is going to be tough for Kevin Holland to deal with. And I don't think they're doing Holland any favors with this type of matchup here against a Michael Chiesa, who's also pretty tall and long, too. And Holland dropping down to 170. People say, oh, but he fought 85. He is a 170 pounder now. He's slimmed up his frame a little bit, cutting a little extra weight. He's not going to be as strong, and he's not going to hit as hard. Now, ultimately, if he lands a clean punch, he could drop, any guy at 170 outside of maybe, the top tier. But I think Michael Chiesa has the style to give him difficulty. So give me Chiesa.
Yeah. And you know what else? At elevation, could you imagine a world where Chiesa's wrestling is more effective because Kevin Holland is taking a couple deep breaths? I could.
Yeah.
Come on. I never, shout out to Michael Chiesa. It's all love here. I've never rooted for the guy once. I've never been like, I can't wait to see the Michael Chiesa fight. Anytime he's matched up, I'm always kind of rooting for Sean Brady or Vicente Luque or Neil Magny or Anthony Pettis or Carlos Condit or Rafael Dos Anjos. I mean, any of these fights, I'm always hoping to see the other corner. So nothing against Michael Chiesa other than maybe he's not the most exciting fighter I've ever seen. As to where Holland is, dude. Holland's the man. Holland's got the juice. Yeah, he gets taken down, but look who he's fighting. He's fighting the top of the division. I mean, every single time Kevin Holland steps in the cage, it's been against really good competition. You could say that about the Maverick, Mr. Chiesa. Agreed, but you got the win over Ponzinibbio. Holland, now I'm talking about, got the win over Ponzinibbio last time. And then it's Wonderboy, Hamzat. Those losses make sense. I mean, Wonderboy and Hamzat, two of the best fighters I've ever seen. And then Tim Means, Alex Oliveira, 2 wins. There's a Darce choke and punches. And that's real, too. Like, he's got jiu-jitsu, dude. Holland's a jiu-jitsu black belt, yes? Under, is it Travis Luter?
Drysdale. Rob
Drysdale. Is it Drysdale? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's even better than Travis Luter, actually.
Maybe it is Travis Luter then. Now you make me double think. I don't know.
Wasn't it Travis Luter?
The name, it might be Luter then, because Drysdale.
Nobody in the comments help us out. Is it Drysdale or Luter? Who is Kevin Holland?
Now that you're saying it.
Okay. I'm going to pick Holland knockout, but I'm kind of picking with my heart. I kind of could imagine a scenario where Michael Chiesa grinds out a decision with takedowns. But AJ, the way they score damage, nowadays, it took a couple years, I think, for the judging to finally really get in the habit of constantly scoring it based on damage. I could imagine even with a couple takedowns going the wrong way, Kevin Holland's elbows and knees and punches being enough to get this done on the scorecards too. Kevin Holland damages people. That's what he does in a 3-round fight with Michael Chiesa. Kevin Holland's been in there with much bigger dudes. I think that the strength won't feel abnormal to him. He's used to this. He's wrestled at AKA, probably not that well, but he's wrestled at AKA. I think Kevin Holland can get past this test.
Respect. Listen, I'm glad you're picking Kevin Holland. I guess fan sided. Yeah, seeing a Kevin Holland knockout is always a treat. So I guess, I'm picking. I got to pick with this thing. It might be wrong here. It might be wrong. The heart might be the way, man. Follow your heart. But Chiesa by knockout. Chiesa by knockout. Get the fuck out of here. Chiesa to win plus 127. Holland by knockout.
You see what a joke that is? That's what I'm talking about. Come on, Chiesa.
Holland by KO is plus 200, where Chiesa by points is plus 285. I'm going Chiesa. I'm going to say he wins, but I won't argue with you, Finch. You're making me, sweat a little bit of fear is coming in, because at the end of the day, Chiesa has a much smaller chance for a finish where Holland needs a couple punches, Chiesa needs full control, and then to be able to strangle a Holland or finish him by sub is not easy. So I guess I'm nervously going with the chain wrestling potential of Chiesa here in this fight. He's a slight dog, but it's a 50-50.
Chiesa has to get these takedowns. He has to stay glued to him. He has to wrestle. Out of 22 fights, how many knockouts does Michael Chiesa have? 0. Michael Chiesa has never won a fight by throwing punches. That's because he's not very good at it. So Kevin Holland is very fast at it, and I think in any moment, Kevin Holland could close the show out.
I like it, man. Hey, listen, I'm happy to be on the opposite side. I'm going the Maverick to probably upset the people. But Kevin Holland, the pick of the Finch, man. And let's keep running up. Next fight. It might get people emotional when they see this one. It's Bobby Green, Tony Ferguson. I think this is the Ferguson farewell fight. I'm picking Bobby Green to touch him up with the hands, probably for 3 rounds. Ferguson does not have the same mobility that he once did. It's evident even in his pre-fight, like when he's doing the little, shooting the shot. What would you call that? The little shot, shoot, shuffle? Like, I don't even know. The Tony Ferguson
shuffle
special.
When he's shuffling his feet?
When he's doing like, he's kind of shooting takedowns, like side to side, and then he's on the ground doing like almost like half break dancing, half wrestling. I don't know what we
gotta ask Tony Ferguson what the fuck he's doing.
Let's say the Ferguson shuffle. All right. He doesn't move the same. And I mean, he looks slow against Diaz. He took a brutal knockout against Michael Chandler. I think that it's going to be Bobby Green winning. It's just Green is, what's funny though, when Green fights guys on their way out, he sleeps them like what he did to Ali Aquinta. Green by knockout is live, but I do think Ferguson's dog toughness keeps him in it. And I expect Ferguson to almost look like when Diego Sanchez was at the end of his UFC run, just kind of cleanly getting beaten up.
I mean, and he's but plus 260 underneath Bobby Green. Honestly, the odds are not that crazy, folks. I think this is a decent bet. Minus 335, so you might need to parlay it with something to sweeten it up a little bit. But Bobby Green all day over old man Tony. I mean, let's respect him. He's 39 years old. 33-year-old Tony Ferguson was a whole different animal, but that animal is in the past. I remember after that Justin Gaethje fight, he got matched up with Charles Oliveira, and obviously he was 2-1 favorite or whatever over Oliveira, and I placed a sizable bet on Charles Oliveira. I mean, I even had a good conviction back then that Tony's best days were behind him. Obviously, you guys saw what a domination that fight was. Ever since then, he hasn't won a fight, folks. And then that was years ago. So. Tony Ferguson's best days are behind him. Shout out to my Costa Mesa guy. I've never seen him around, but apparently he lives down the street. Apparently Tony Ferguson and I should have been training this whole time. But Tony's, not going to have the timing it takes to deal with the Bobby Green. He's a better submission artist, but it's going to be kind of hard to take Bobby Green down. Bobby Green by knockout.
Bobby Green for the win seems like high confidence for pretty much everybody. I actually see him all the way up at minus 420 as a favorite. On the low end, it's minus 375. And then this fight being a knockout for Bobby Green sits at plus 175 with a Green decision at plus 130. I can see a world where Tony Ferguson eats some big shots and is able to go the full 3 just with his maniac chin, but he's going to be outworked, man. He's going to get touched up. Bobby Green for the win. It's an ugly money line, but he's going to win the fight. To be honest, I'd be kind of shocked to see Ferguson win.
Scrolling up in the comments here. Granby roll? Was that what you were looking for? The Granby roll where you roll over your shoulders?
No.
I was trying to help you out.
It's all good.
Granby roll. I saw in the comments said Grammy roll, like a Grammy. No, not an award. Granby roll, folks. A little bit different. Tony Ferguson has a very unique style, and it worked for a long time. But when you lose timing, I said this about McGregor when McGregor just beat Jose Aldo. I was like, this guy has a style that's not going to work into his old age past his prime, and you could say a similar thing about Tony Ferguson. The style doesn't work when you don't have good timing, good reflexes. It's just not going to be a longevity type style. That's why he's on a 6-fight skid or whatever it is. And Bobby Green, here's one thing I will say. Bobby Green takes a lot of risks and showboats with his hands down and does shit that you don't like betting on. There's a reason why Bobby Green has double-digit losses, and it's not just the wrestling and grappling. He does like to drop his hands a little bit. Who knocked him out? Remember, Drew Dober. He was beating up Drew Dober bad. I picked Drew Dober, so I was sweating. And then Drew Dober knocks him out, So, yeah, there's a little bit of a risk to understand about betting on Bobby Green when he fights with his hands around where his cup is.
I agree, but in this matchup here, man, I just don't think Ferguson's got it anymore, dude. It's Green. Now, as far as the dono in the chat, my guy, Adrigo Chrome Jojo with the 199, he says, Bobby Green was never good. Tony still beats him. Listen, that's a ballsy take, my man.
Bruh.
I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
How does he beat him, brother? You got to tell me what he's going to do, because submission is a potential avenue, although Bobby Green probably doesn't want to spend any time on the mat. And then, Tony's got like crazy elbows and knees and shit. Did he pull a rabbit out of the hat? I would say these are like 1 in 10 type, Hail Mary type chances.
Yes, I agree with that exact sentiment, bro. I think that it's like it's a Hail Mary, dude. Like if you're going for Tony Ferguson, he's a plus 350 dog. It's because you're like, hey, he's got the Hail Mary. There's a shot for him. But overall, I just think he's clearly past his days. Now, Green to win on points, plus 135. Money line is minus 420. And the knockout prop for Green is plus 150. So do with that as you wish.
He answered our question, so let's bring him up. He says, Green has no power. Green has no power. No submission threat, fair. And also, old Tony has only looked good against way better competition. I think we're talking past each other here a little bit because, yes, Tony Ferguson at one point would definitely be my pick against Bobby Green. I'm just saying that he's much further past than point that Bobby is. If you think Green is old, I think that he's much closer to his prime, at least, than a T-Fer.
Hey, shout out to my guy, fucking Pinheiro in the chat. He says, AJ, total up to 6 people I got to subscribe, catching fire in South Philly. Hey, word of mouth still works, and I appreciate the people spreading it the old school way, word of mouth. Yo, check out this channel, cool, man. Thank you, brother. Cool. I got to shout my guy. Thank you, bro. Listen, we're going Green. We're going the same side. Let's get to the featured bout. It is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Michel Pereira. I think that Wonderboy is going to outstrike a dangerous Pereira for 3 rounds. I think Pereira is a hard-hitting, kind of scary guy to face off against. But when you do dig into the fights, he had a really competitive fight last time out with Santiago Ponzinibbio, who doesn't have the speed nor versatile striking attack of a karate type striking that Stephen Wonderboy Thompson has. Prior to that, Andre Fiallo win on the cards, has a win over Nico Price by decision, Chaos Williams by decision too, and then he has a rear naked choke in 2020 against Dalim Imedeev. So if you look as of recent, there hasn't been a lot of finishes for the side of Michel. And then you look at Wonderboy, I mean, the losses he has, Gilbert Burns 2 years ago, and Burns struggled to get him down in that fight, and then Bilal Muhammad, who's an absolute workhorse, beast of a wrestler. Last time out, Wonderboy took on Kevin Holland in a great back-and-forth fight, and Wonderboy was able to beat a dangerous Holland, who, at times, though, chose to get up from dominant position on the ground, which I think was a mistake. Note something different with Michel Pereira, because Pereira is a big, scary guy. He has a 73-inch reach. Wonderboy has a 75-inch reach, and Kevin Holland had an 81-inch reach. So if you think it's going to be easy for Pereira to land punches to Wonderboy's face with a disadvantage in the height, disadvantage in the reach and overall kicking skill from the outside, it's not like Pereira has the range of a Holland. So I think Thompson is much safer from distance here. I'm going to go Wonderboy to beat Michel Pereira and pull it off on the scorecards. But, there's always a little bit of a fear in the back of my mind with a fighter at 40 who is taking on a dangerous guy at 29. So I'm going to pick Wonderboy to beat Pereira because I do believe he's still better. And it's like against strikers, I mean, I feel like I got to still ride with Wonderboy to win. He took a lot of shots against Holland, but his toughness showed too.
Have you been watching The Ultimate Fighter?
I'm on and off with Tough, but I watched the Wonderboy episode.
You did, where he's teaching everybody, he's showing them he go 1, 2, 3, box, 1, 2, 3, right? Dude, Wonder Boy is a phenomenal coach. You want to talk about striking IQ? This guy is a genius when it comes to distance management, when it comes to setting things up, setting kicks up, setting punches up, right? Not the best boxer, obviously, but the way he puts punches with kicks and makes you look at the punch and then slides the kick in, and he'll do things you can't see, and he's very dynamic. So Wonderboy Thompson is not your average 40-year-old, folks. This guy is extremely smart, extremely well-versed in MMA striking. His issue has been if guys can drag him onto the ground. You know, that's been the majority of his problems. And here's a guy who probably will engage with him in striking. Now, we've seen it many times where two strikers fight, they want to wrestle. We saw it with the opposite kind of with Muniz and Craig in that first round, right? Two grapplers, they struck for a while. So it's really an opportunity perhaps for Pereira to decide, okay, I'm going to surprise his ass and try to take him down. That would be interesting to see. I got Wonderboy Thompson too, but I think it's his last hurrah. I mean, I'd make no mistake. I do not think Wonderboy is going to go win the title, but a win over Kevin Holland did show me something. You know, even in his 5-rounder with Mr. Geoff Neal, I saw towards the end of 4 and 5, you could see Wonderboy slowing down. I'm like, oh my God, a good counter puncher right now might be able to put him out. So I think at the top of the division, he'd have trouble with a Leon Edwards. He'd have trouble with he would have a lot of trouble at the top end of the division. But against a Michael Pereira, Michel Pereira, should I say? I do think Pereira should be competitive with him and potentially give him a run for his money and maybe lose a close decision here. One thing I wanted to bring up.
Can I bring this one up
Dixon
too?
Sider got lost. You saw this? Okay. Go
Here
for
we
it.
go. Yeah, you listen, this is the one that you wanted too. It works out. Fighters 10 years younger than their opponents are winning at an 89% clip in 2023. It's a 6 stat. Please tell me where you got that stat. If the younger man's opponent is over 35, it bumps to 93. Younger man's opponent is 40 plus, 100% success rate for the younger. Wow. That's a very interesting stat to bring into this fight, man. Where'd this come? Do you have the, what is it like in school when you have to give the credit to where you found the stats? Where is the source, man? But I do think it sounds reasonably
in
true.
2023. That's pretty recent.
Specifically 2023.
Okay.
Past 7 months, almost 8 months.
But I'd like to hear 2022 stats as well. MMA hasn't changed that much since 2022.
Probably say the past 5 years stats I'd look at.
Right. Interesting, Dixon. All right. Are you telling us you're going Michel Pereira? Let us know, bro. And I could see it. It's a good fight. It's not one I'm betting on.
It's a good fight. The money side, looking at the odds, it is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, even at 41 as the favorite at minus 150 to Pereira at plus 130. I said 41, but I meant 40. He's 40 flat. He's not 41. I ain't giving him a year just yet. Now, as far as props, let's see if I can find anything here. I'm going to jump sites. Where is Wonderboy? Here we go. Wonderboy by points is plus 160 with a Wonderboy KO at plus 250. I think more likely they're going long. Pereira by KO plus 550. Interesting note. I do think Wonderboy wins. I mean, Pereira is explosive and he does throw heavies, but I don't think he has this great precision. It's more going to be about, can Wonderboy still move? And does he get clipped with some big shots? Is the chin all right after the Holland fight? I'm going to say Thompson wins it, though. I'm going to go scorecards with you.
Yeah, probably Wonderboy by the scorecards. It would be very surprising to me to see Wonderboy get a knockout here. He should probably pick it away at him, stick that side kick in his stomach, stomp on those knees a little bit, although he just kind of likes to touch those knees. Wonderboy, hurt people out here, Wonderboy. Stomp on that freaking knee, man. Don't worry about these guys. You ever hear him talk about that? My guy Kevin brought that up. He said Wonderboy's like, oh, I don't want to hurt anybody too bad. Wonderboy, you're in a fist fight for $100,000. Go stomp on that man's knees. Put him down. That would be really nice to see. No, I do think Wonderboy goes to a decision because he's not that lethal at 40.
Yeah, I think it goes long. Wonderboy wins. Don't go overzealous for a KO because Pereira is always dangerous. Wonder Boy for the W, but I guess betting wise wouldn't be crazy if you're propping a KO for Pereira. You're thinking Wonder Boy's past his years due to some stats mentioned by the chat.
He is 40.
He is 40. Co-main event of the evening. It's Jan Błachowicz versus Alex Poatan Pereira. And Mike Finch, I'm picking Poatan. I think that Alex Pereira is going to win this fight. He's going to knock out Jan Błachowicz on the feet, bro. I think that the side of Jan, right, is reasonably skilled at takedowns. You know, it's not an overwhelming wrestling base that he brings to this matchup here. He's fairly good defensively, though. But as far as his wrestling offense, yes, against certain guys, especially trips, I can see him grabbing. I know that Alex Pereira is working a shitload on his takedown defense and overall ground skills. And I also recognize the fact that he is much larger at 205 than 185. We might be seeing a 2.0 Alex Pereira with stronger hips than ever before, heavier hands, and insane durability, because I don't know how he cut to 185. This guy's not a normal man because he looks like he could be fighting at 225, 230 all the time. So I think that Alex Pereira here by left hook knockout is what he's going to find. Maybe in the second round, even if Jan gets some control with the grappling, I expect Pereira's submission defense to be competent enough to deal with a top game from a Jan Błachowicz. And I think when they go on the feet, it takes one. I think Błachowicz being at a bit of the reach disadvantage. And Pereira also, I'm going to say this. Yeah, he lost last time to Izzy, but I thought when he lost to Israel Adesanya that he was looking better right up until he got caught than their first fight. So I'm anticipating like an evolving Alex Pereira who's not focused so much on losing weight in his camp that he's really improving his skill set more so. And I know he was training with Dylan Dennis and, people were joking, oh, Dennis took him down and whatnot. But I think that Alex Pereira putting himself in risky positions in training against guys with offensive wrestling chops is going to aid him to victory here against a Jan Błachowicz, who is an MMA striker that has the back pocket of some wrestling, but it's not a stat that is overwhelming. He's not a guy in the division where I say, damn, that's a good takedown. He's not the guy that's going to be coaching, fighters for getting fights to the floor. He's got a good overall game. And I think that Pereira, if able to stop not just takedowns, but stop control and dominance from top position, he will find the knockout. I'm going Pereira second round KO.
I respect it. Did you see Matt Serra's take on this fight?
I didn't watch Matt Serra's take.
Matt Serra said that he thinks Jan Błachowicz can get this to the ground and beat Pereira there, and I can completely see what he's saying, right? I mean, what made the difference against Israel Adesanya? Really what made the difference was that clutch takedown that Błachowicz hit, and who has better takedown defense, Izzy Adesanya or Alex Pereira? I would say Adesanya has much better takedown defense. Okay. Let me hype Pereira first so we can all have some fun. Did you guys see his recent sparring videos? Him hitting pads? Okay. He looks fucking huge. Alex Pereira looks like a character out of Mortal Kombat brought to life. This guy is absolutely one of the most dangerous strikers I've ever seen. What a cool style he's got. What a fantastic puncher, kicker. I like what Joe Rogan said about his calf kicks. He doesn't turn the hip over at all. It's like it's the best calf kicks we've ever seen in MMA. You can't even see him coming. And he was really tearing Izzy up with those calf kicks. That could really come into play against these bigger, heavier guys at 205. Those calf kicks might make a real difference. So that's honestly the best weapon I think Alex Pereira has here. He's, of course, live for knockout. I totally respect Alex Pereira. However, on his back, I don't know if he's ready. AJ seems to think he's done it in the training room and he should be ready to go. Brother, until I really see it, he was making some real mistakes on his back against Izzy in the first UFC fight they had. And against the Błachowicz, who was able to just pin Izzy down. I mean, look at Błachowicz. You couldn't even see Izzy underneath that big ass Polish sausage. I think that Błachowicz has absolutely got a lot more size to his chest and his torso, and he'll weigh down Pereira. And Pereira's been lifting weights and looks explosive. That'll be really good on the feet. But at elevation, guys, could you imagine the second and third round if Błachowicz is on his second or third or fourth takedown? Błachowicz said very clearly, AJ, he is planning to wrestle in this fight. I believe he does. Give me Jan Błachowicz decision.
I think that this is something interesting. Who needs to be brought up? Because I want to bring up, he says, I almost hit 85,000 parlay on only 10 cents. I send you a screenshot. If you don't believe it, Molly ruined it. Damn, bro. That is insane. And I'm sorry that shit didn't happen, brother. I had to fucking bring him for some cope, damn. It is what it is.
The
It is what
meatball
it is,
can't
brother.
roll, dude. Fuck. The
It's
meatball
tough.
has problems on the mat. Stolyarenko really quickly jumping on that stuff, but Molly Meatball's got some work to do on the mat, brother.
All right, let's jump to this fight. I don't want to even talk about Molly meat schmalls, whatever, meatballs, you know what I'm saying? Meat mush. This fight here, okay, with Pereira, I do believe the knockout's going to come because Jan, traditionally speaking, right, it's not that chain wrestling and takedowns and control is the base in his game. And also, I mean, they are at elevation, so it's not like the takedown threat and, using a style that is out of your norm per se wouldn't potentially gas a Jan more than striking. I think second round is why I'm riding with Pereira KO. He'll find him there. I think he's putting his lights out, man. I think Błachowicz is going to get slept, and we're setting up the most violent fight of all time between Pereira and Prochazka.
Oh man, that's a dope matchup. I really like that. But hey, and all these guys, Jamal Hill's fun. A lot of the 205 fights be fun with him. I think something to be said for some of you guys who are thinking that Błachowicz is far past his prime, or that he's way too slow, or that he's,
I don't think that.
these various criticisms. He is very, very defensively sound. I mean, go back and watch the Israel Adesanya fight. His style is very much so to catch things nicely. And he doesn't just put his hands up and block while he's moving forward. He's actually turning his body, catching the shots on his elbows, on his forearms. He does a very good job being hard to tee off on. It's not easy to get a combination off on Jan Błachowicz. So I do think that defense, that fundamental defense that he showed, checking Israel Adesanya's kicks and whatnot. I keep bringing up the Izzy fight because him and Pereira have so much history. I believe that comes into play here. I believe he avoids the nukes.
He avoids the nukes. The Finch thinks so. Finch, man. I think Jan Błachowicz is going to bed, brother. Now, as far as the odds, though, they have Błachowicz as a slight favorite. He's minus 125, with Pereira at plus 105 as the underdog. I like Pereira by KO. That's plus 165. Second round knockout for Poatan. Alex Pereira is plus 650. Mike, you like Jan. How do you like him to get it done, man? We going 3? Is he ground?
It's decision or submission. I mean, I could imagine him throwing some punches on top, but I'm thinking rear naked strangle if we really get through Alex Pereira. And if it's a good fight, we'll win a 29-28 decision with those takedowns, that fence control, that top control. If Alex Pereira is on his back, I'll predict he cannot get up. The big thing is, can Błachowicz get him on his back? Remains to be seen. That's what makes this fight awesome. I just hyped you guys up on Alex Pereira too. I don't underestimate him, guys. These recent sparring videos I'm seeing, he looks huge. He's going to be a problem. If you're standing across from Alex Pereira, I don't care who you are, when you're looking in that cage, you go, shit, this is about to be a risk I'm taking. So, Błachowicz is the right guy for the job, I think. Should be able to get this on the scorecards.
Let's go. I'm going Pereira. Finch on Błachowicz. Winner fights for the belt, I think, certainly against Prochazka up next, with Jamal Hill vacating after injury. And let's get into the main event of the evening. If you guys haven't, make sure you smash the likes. And if you're new, subscribe. Dustin Poirier versus Justin Gaethje 2. It goes down this Saturday at UFC 291. It's a 5-round championship main event for the BMF belt, and I'll be live for the whole thing. So make sure you guys tune into the Fight Companion. And this fight here, Mike Finch, is one that gets me pretty hype. I was talking about it even at the beginning of the show, like almost spoiling the entire show, getting so heavy into it. I think this is another barn burner of a fight, similarly to what we saw in their first bout. Dustin Poirier is the better boxer in the pocket, right? And something he learned from Gaethje in that first fight is the calf kick. It's almost like Justin Gaethje really opened Dustin Poirier's eyes to that technique. Prior to that, it was not a majorly used technique in the sport. Jim Miller was ripping Poirier up with calf kicks in the fight before, and that was like a first of the few of like, yo, calf kicks. What is this new thing? This is a new move. Dustin Poirier now is definitely more adept to defend against a calf kick from the likes of a Justin Gaethje than he was the first time out. And I think his boxing is just as scary as ever before. I'm going to say that Dustin Poirier puts hands on Gaethje and knocks him out again. That straight left is something to watch for. The right hook is there, and I think we got a good back and forth, but Poirier outdogs him and knocks him out in the third.
Man, this is about to be a good fight. Come on, folks. Can you imagine any scenario where you are not raising your voice and your heart rate is not going up watching this fight? This is a dope fight, you know? This is why we like this sport, man. These two types of fighters really always bring it. Their styles, man. Justin Gaethje's style, throwing leg kicks in the red zone and in zero space. Whop, whop. He's still chopping that damn thing. He'll get underneath you. He'll come over the top. He's got nice hands. That big ass head, for some reason, gets in the way of some shots. He gets hit a little bit, but my man Gaethje could bend his knees and really box. I was really impressed watching Justin Gaethje versus Michael Chandler. He really dominated Michael Chandler. He really showed levels of difference, obviously had the bad Charles Oliveira performance, but then the Fiziev one again. He showed against Fiziev, it was a good fight. I think people, sort of saw that as a Gaethje domination. It wasn't. It was closer than people generally give him credit for, but Justin Gaethje showed a very high level of striking in that fight. I've got a lot of respect for Fiziev or whatever. I know you do too. Gaethje looked good in that fight. To get a win over him, all striking, very impressive. So, to be honest, I think since their first fight, Gaethje's been the one who's impressed me more with the striking. So I think in a striking fight between these two, you got to favor Justin Gaethje. However, there's a problem here, and that's the ground game of Justin Gaethje. And Poirier showed us he can even choke wrestlers like Michael Chandler. I mean, people who are better at wrestling, I believe, than Justin Gaethje. And so in a 5-round fight where they both get tired, they both get bloody, they both got to dig deep. Lord knows we know they could both dig deep. I think it's the submission ability of Dustin Poirier. It's the ability to take the back and strangle people that can make the difference here. The biggest difference between the two of them is in a no-gi grappling competition, Poirier strangles him. He'd be a big favorite. And I do believe he gets the back, and I do believe Dustin the Diamond Poirier will be slinging some hot sauce and slinging some strangles on Saturday. I got him by rear naked.
I like the rear naked call, bro. I like the bringing up the grappling differential between the two because it is a true thing. I mean, Gaethje's wrestling makes him defensively sound against a lot of guys. But if you get into late waters, and then especially if you're thinking of potential, club and sub or our big punch hurts Gaethje, and then Poirier following up potentially ends up on top. There's some interesting factors. I guess, do you think Dustin Poirier can take him to the ground? That's a difficult one for me because in their first fight, Poirier was unsuccessful shooting the takedowns. And I just feel as though, I guess I have more faith in the Poirier inside boxing, but I definitely do agree if they go to the floor, it would much more likely be a Poirier sub than a Gaethje. If you told me this fight's ending in submission, I'd be, oh, damn, Poirier must have strangled him.
Right. I understand what you mean by that. It is hard to get Justin Gaethje to the ground, and Poirier's not the best wrestler, However, Poirier has showed us that wrinkle. I think the Michael Chandler fight's a good example, but he took Conor down too, right? Did Conor jump the guillotine? Is that why the takedown happened? Did he take him down in that fight?
I believe it was jumping the guillotine. Conor shot the first takedown and shit like that.
That's true. Okay, never mind. Didn't take Conor down, but showed us some work on top. Obviously was able to get on top of Michael Chandler. No, Justin Gaethje's not going to shoot. Justin Gaethje's going to try to bang it out with him, but I could imagine as he slows down, AJ, it'll happen. Justin Poirier, even if he's got to climb on his fucking back, and I know he can potentially hit a Darce choke, and there are other, avenues to get this thing done, but it seems like him climbing on his back would be probably the way I would approach it if I was Mike Brown and I was in his corner, right? I would say, hey, fuck banging with this guy, stick and move, kick his legs a little bit, make sure you're checking his, and then when he wants to come in and bang a little bit, try to hit takedowns on him. You might fail one or two, but Poirier has a gas tank that should really come into play here, especially at elevation in a 5-rounder. I could imagine Justin Gaethje looking real good early and getting sub late.
I like it, bro. Listen, I like the Mike Finch take making us think outside the box with the submission call. I dig it, bro. Now, I will bring up betting lines. If you're on the Poirier side, which both of us are, it's -170 for Poirier. Gaethje is a +145 underdog. Looking towards win by submission for Dustin Poirier, which is a Mystic Mac Mike Finch call. It's +500. I am leaning the KO TKO at +185. If you're betting inside distance, I think that you are getting some plus money too, but let me double check over here. Inside distance is nowhere to be found, bro. I can't find no inside distance, brother. Poirier inside distance +120. So
Poirier sub is +500.
yeah, subs all the way up at +500, bro.
You might make me change my lock, bro. That sounds juicy.
Poirier sub +500, my man. And he's a favorite money line at -170, which is not too bad of a tag either. So listen, I like the fight a lot. I like Poirier to win it. Tricky main event for sure, with both guys really wanting it bad. BMF belt on the line, and potentially huge fights on the marquee, because the winner of this fight, regardless of the name, BMF belt, it is a title. And I think there's more legitimacy now to the BMF belt. Like, this is when Nate Diaz and Masvidal fought for the BMF title. It was on the line, and the winner then ended up getting a world title fight, being Usman, going on and losing against Kamaru Usman. But at the end of the day, Poirier could potentially win, or Gaethje potentially win it. It could be Makhachev right in the next up, or it could be a McGregor super fight in a quadrilogy. There are some options. I think the McGregor quadrilogy is something the UFC is looking at, though. I think it'd be of interest to them financially to have Conor fighting for a belt again. And then regardless of who wins, the next fight for either one of them is huge. But let's say a Conor McGregor ends up pulling off a win, and then I'm calling out fucking Makhachev. You do Dagestan and McGregor rematch. Like, some crazy ways you can play it. Not saying that it's going to be easy, though, for Conor to get past the Poirier, man.
Yeah, I get a sick feeling in my stomach when I see this Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz fight. It's like Nate Diaz trilogy should have been the move for Conor, coming off of the leg break. Honestly, before that, I thought Poirier was too tough of a test for him. I didn't like it. I told you guys that on this show. But the Nate Diaz fight, that's a winnable one for Conor. How is Conor going to beat this Poirier? How is Conor going to beat Islam Makhachev? I mean, he really needs to get a W back, and I feel like Nate Diaz was the right one. So I'm going to still hold out and hope that they could figure something out for that Diaz trilogy. It's a bigger pay-per-view than Poirier and Conor, I believe. And it's one where I think Conor would be the favorite. I think Conor would beat Nate Diaz. As to where, Poirier, he's real good now. He's got 2023 MMA now. He trains at one of the best teams in the world. So they've really rounded his game out with the kicks, and he doesn't just brawl now. He's got a lot more style to his boxing too. His boxing even improved since that first Conor fight. So you'd have to think that Conor would come in that fight as an underdog, right? It'd be nice to see Conor get a win back. I don't know. What do we got to dust off Diego Sanchez for him? What do we need to do for Conor to bounce back, AJ? I don't think Poirier would be a good one, though.
Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens with the Diaz-Paul situation. And something here, Mark Huron brings it up. Conor isn't making 155. I agree. But note something, though. But he could cut it down. He could, but will he want to? I'll say this, though. The BMF belt don't matter what weight class. BMF belt is not weight class specific. The BMF title could be on the line regardless of the weight, which is why I get excited about the belt. And I hope that it becomes a more real thing. And then I think the end goal would be, the champion of the world, then also having the BMF belt is maybe something the UFC would love. The baddest motherfucker, and he wins the strap. It's a cool thing. I like BMF belt.
I think the other thing, though, isn't the BMF belt something because you don't have an actual title to put on the line? True. The BMF belt can lurk in that middle area where there are talented fighters who can't quite grasp the title, but they do sell pay-per-views. The BMF title kind of, serves that niche. No?
It does. No, it does. It's just eventually, if the BMF wins enough fights, they're going to have to fight the champion. And then it's like, do they put that BMF on the line against the champ, or no, these are wrestlers? So it can get confusing with the BMF belt, man. But
I think you had it right. I think they very well might do winner fights McGregor or some shit like that. If McGregor gets past, or if he ever fights Michael Chandler, who knows? That makes sense. To make Conor McGregor fight for the BMF title at some point, non-title fight. This does make sense, AJ. You were onto something.
I agree. I think that is potentially next for the winner, but we shall see, Mike Finch. You know what I'm excited for, though? I'm excited to get into the lock of the night. Lock of the night for UFC 291. And if you're wondering where the graphic is, I guess it just didn't load in, man. But reload it in. Boom.
Redo.
There we go. Let's
There
go,
it is.
champ. Lock of the night for the card. Mike Finch, as always, I like you to take it up first and give me your thought process, man. What are we doing this week?
The legit lock of the night, the one you guys can hold me accountable for. We got to fade AJ on this love of Derrick Lewis. I don't know what he's doing.
Shit.
I think DeLima's got this thing. DeLima knocked out Ben Rothwell. DeLima can strangle him on the ground. DeLima has dealt with these big sluggers his whole life. I think DeLima gets a hold of our big, powerful friend, Derrick Lewis, drags him onto the ground, and Derrick Lewis could try to explode up and give up his neck. Derrick Lewis has been finished in the first or second round in these last few fights, and I think it continues. I'm sorry to say, AJ, I think Derrick Lewis is done. I think that the guy is going to be DeLima in this one by submission. And by the way, money line it only minus 130. That's not bad.
No, it's like minus 130, 50 around that range. Not bad at all.
Go ahead. Okay, but let me, can I say one more thing? If you're feeling a little loose this Saturday, if you feel like throwing maybe a lighter bet, be careful, consider it. I think plus 500 on Dustin Poirier by submission is insane. That's his most likely way to win. Dustin Poirier said himself, I don't know how much longer I want to do this. Before that Conor McGregor fight, he was thinking he was done. He's been in those wars. He doesn't want the wars anymore. And I believe him and Mike Brown have cooked up a game plan to climb onto the back of Justin Gaethje and strangle him. And I believe Dustin Poirier by submission at plus 500 is a nice little touch.
Minus 210 is actually the line now for DeLima. It's spread out a little bit wider, just to give you the notification. The chat told me.
All right. So if the chat thinks, Mike, that's too much of a favorite, throw a couple bucks to sprinkle on Poirier submission. That is my humble recommendation.
Okay. Humble recommendation. Mike Finch. This is going to be a controversial one. They're going to say, dude, you killed it with Wood last week. Now you're going in the opposite direction. Well, I'm going towards the side of violence. I'm going for Poetan, Alex Pereira, to bring out his bow and arrow and lay rest to Jan Błachowicz. I'm going lock of the week, slight underdog, Alex Pereira by knockout over Jan. I think he's going to win the fight with a left hook KO, and I also think that he's going to be fighting for the light heavyweight title sometime early in 2024 against the likes of Jiri Prochazka. Yeah, I think Pereira is going to sleep him, bro. I'm feeling it, man. I'm going Pereira as the underdog lock of the week this week. I'm going for dog money. I was looking at it. I'm like, all right. I asked myself some questions. Okay, Bobby Green, what the fuck? Minus 420. Well, I can't give you. I'm not going to give a minus 420. That's a high confidence pick. That's a good parlay piece. Semelsberger should win. High confidence pick. Good parlay piece. But for the lock, I'm bringing something that you can throw a little money at. I'm going Alex Pereira by KO. Alex Pereira by KO.
Wow. Poetan by KO would be sick to see. You guys remembered I picked Jan Błachowicz. How about that? Our locks are disagreement locks.
That's
that
crazy,
is,
actually.
Have we ever both done that? I think this might be a first in Moneyline history.
Actually, we did it once. Bobby Green and Drew Dober. We locked one and the other, I think.
True.
Yeah.
Who was right about that one?
You got me on that one there.
No, I'm just kidding.
You did, Mike.
Bobby Green was
discrepancy. What is the word? Transparency. I'm not worried about it.
Full transparency. Yeah, Bobby Green was dominating that fight. I was very glad to see Drew Dober pull that one out. Just for the, just for the lock. So, All right, good luck. Hey, I got a parlay I like too.
Let's go, champ. Let's get into the parlay.
All the competition that try to compete, stand back, watch the bomb drop.
I'm not singing the parlay time song, Mike Finch. Okay, I'm telling you this. I'm bringing the fire with the parlays, bro. I'm coming out with heat, my man. All right. I went with a little plus money action on the other side. This time, I'm going to go with a little bit of, a safety first parlay, which I think is not a bad idea at all here. I like the side of Semelsberger on the prelims to win. And then I also really like the side of Bobby Green on the main card. And that brings you to minus 105, essentially even Stevens money between two picks that I think have a very high likelihood of cashing. So that's what I'm liking for the safety $100 parlay, man.
I like it. I like it, my friend. I'm going to keep one of those. So I do like that Bobby Green pick. At this point, guys, we got to think Bobby Green is going to get past old man Tony Ferguson. And let's sprinkle in Gabriel Bonfim. I believe Bonfim does get past Trevin Giles. Now, Trevin Giles, he's legit. I'm not sleeping on Trevin Giles. You guys heard me pay respects to him. Bonfim is the man. I do think he gets past him. Bonfim and Bobby Green comes in at
minus 135 for that one there.
I'll take it, folks. And these parlays have been riding. What do you call it when you get 3 in a row? Is a
trifecta, bro? It's I say trifecta.
Trifecta week. I'm feeling it, guys. So I like that parlay. That's one that I do believe is going to cash for me. I'll be putting some money on it.
Let's go. Mike Finch, another beautiful show in the books. I think we brought the fire this week with a heated back and forth on the lock of the nights, which I think is cool here. Really not super heated, but you know what I'm saying. It's hype, bro. It's hype that we're going on opposite sides.
We're hyped for this card. Is this a good card or what? I
like the parlay a lot. I like the parlay a lot. I think you could mix me and Mike's parlay together even and get yourself a little more love. If you're like, yo, I actually think I'm going to ride with what both you guys are saying, you're looking at a beautiful plus 170 tag. You're riding with both of us. So listen, you could go Bonfim, Semelsberger, and Bobby Green.
That's the money line parlay, folks.
Yeah, let's go. Mike Finch, my guy. It's been a blast. I'm hyped for 291, man. We've been on here over 2 hours. We normally don't go 2 hours. We're going off today.
I know. Well, we got started a little late. My computer crashed. AJ was like having some conversation. I don't know what happened. And then we come on and it was all small talk because we had a lot to talk about last week. The fights were interesting. Big Tommy Aspinall. I mean, we had some stuff to talk about. So we're just having fun today, man. I am very excited about this card too. I think that's another reason we went long. I am super, super excited to see a ton of these fights. Poatan, big Poatan at 205. Brother, that's worth the pay-per-view itself.
Dude, us buying the pay-per-view for just Poatan, exactly. It's fucking worth it. There was a dono in the chat that I think didn't come through on my end. My comment section is frozen, bro.
No. Is that right?
There's one right here. Lush Lomain. You guys build a 100% underdog parlay. Yeah, Lush Lomain. I think my comment section is frozen, bro. Hold on one sec. Let's see if it fixes. No. Yeah, I got a glitched out comment section on my end. Because I'm looking, I'm getting no comments in.
It's the same thing on my end, too.
I can't bring it up on the screen, but Lush Lomain throwing the love, the $2. You are not forgotten. You are seen, my man. We didn't forget about you. We got mad love for you, and we appreciate you. And we're going to give you an underdog little parlay to finish out. Listen, okay? We're going dog central here. All right. What am I going to do for this dog central? Because I'm looking at it. I'm like, I hate this dog parlay, man. Really killing me having me go dog.
The question is a dog parlay. That's what we got to get.
Alex Pereira. Who's got the most do I go Alex Pereira and Derrick Lewis plus 450? Or do you just go with the stats? Do you parlay up Pereira and Pereira at plus 140? Or excuse me, at plus 392 just because the older fighter doesn't normally win? You going against one of your picks? I think Wonderboy wins. Dude, give me an underdog parlay. This is tricky to go these dogs, man. I don't want to go. Do I want to go Pereira with Chiesa plus 363, I guess? But I don't love the sound of it.
Yeah, honestly, Lush Lomain, I feel like a parlay might hit on this one. The parlays have been hitting me for the past couple weeks, and things like Bobby Green and Bonfim and Semelsberger, and for me, Lima. I know AJ disagrees, but I feel like we got some money to be made on this side. It's not always the dog week, right? Didn't we have the Holly Holm card? Not a single dog won the whole card, and then other weeks, of course, it flips on its head. So it's all about what type of matchups we're looking at, Lush Lomain. So don't go dog hunting on the wrong week, my friend. I feel like there's some favorites here to cash in on.
Let's go. Finch, man. It's been a pleasure. And I guess Bueno Silva was the lone dog on the card, the main event. The whole card was underdogs,
Right.
besides the favorites, besides the main. But yo, it's going to be good stuff, man. People, we hope you guys enjoyed another episode of the Money Line. Much love to everybody in chat. We appreciate your love and support, the likes, the subscribes, the donos, everything.
The
Means a
donos,
lot
appreciate
to
it,
us,
guys.
man. Thank you guys a lot. Subscribe to the channel if it's your first time here. Keep your eyes peeled every Monday for Moneyline. I got content dropping myself every day throughout the week. You can check out Mike Finch's channel, the Mike Finch Show, as well, if you're looking to get some exclusive interviews. Mike, any content notes? What are we doing? What's up, bro?
Yes, I'm going to be in Vegas in October. I know that's far away, but I'm trying to book that up. So we got some people to talk to out there in Vegas. And in the meantime, I want to get some interviews done, obviously. So stay tuned for that. But in October, we're going to have some pretty cool in-person interviews. I don't know how to give that to you guys. Should I YouTube live? Maybe me and AJ got to do something on Moneyline. I don't know. But some cool shit coming for sure. Stay tuned, folks. I drop stuff on Instagram all the times, too. So Instagram at Mike Finch MMA. Shameless plug.
My guy, Finch, man, good seeing you, brother. Much love. People, great to give you another beautiful show. Much love, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.